And hello, everyone. Hello and welcome. It is I, troopersjp, and we were already live for a few seconds before I actually said anything, but I had to mute my my sound so that I didn't hear them twice. You wouldn't have heard them twice, but I would have, and I would have been disoriented. Hi, how are you? What's new? What's exciting? What are you doing? How's it going? What's the word, hummingbird? What's the tail, nightingale? Have you heard about Hugo and Kim? So, it's us. We are the gamblers. Well, actually, they're the gamblers, and I'm just a troublemaker. And I'm here to welcome you all to our Foxhole Fridays, where we are playing the Gamblers, our Traveler Pirates of Drinax campaign. And it is good to have you all here. If you would like, we do this through your help. And I am not even looking at my players right now because they're doing shenanigans, and I'm not going to see it. I'm not going to look at them. I'm not looking at whatever shenanigans is happening. Certainly not any from Greg. Actually, none of them. There's nobody here is doing shenanigans. So, if you would like to support us, the best thing you can do is be here live or via Memorex over on the YouTubes, and say hey. If you're on the YouTubes, give a like, subscribe, make a comment. I have not uploaded the last episodes, but I will. And let me see. Hopefully this weekend, we'll see what the weekend will bring. And be here to say hey, see all of our lovely faces of peoples, and I appreciate and adore that. Let's see. If you also want, you can re-skeet our skeet because we have skeeted the skeets, which means the skeets are skeeted.
That's what you think it is.
Sky. This is, and that's only a comment about Blue Sky. That's all that is. Let's see what else we are going to do. Right, that's that. You can also, gosh, you can just comment in our chats while we're going. That's lovely. You can join our Discord if you like. You can give us tips and bits, and if you do, then I will read out any tips and bits messages you have for our cast at the end. You can also join our Patreon, which is at Academic Foxhole. And that's just everything that comes into both the tips and bits while the stream is running, and also Patreon goes to help pay for the cast. And them first, me second. And it's just because I'm gonna pay them one way or the other, and they need to they need the therapy after all the things I'm gonna do to them. So you'd be helping them out, and it's also their time. We also have a merch store over at Fourth Wall, which is pretty awesome, and we've got good merch. And I'm going to be spending some money to commission some art to make something that I cannot tell you what it is, but you'll find out probably, maybe even today. Because it depends on what happens. I can't say what's going to happen because cat herding, but I have suspicions. Let's see. I think that's everything. Join our Discord, and that's all of our preamble. And this is episode 8 of 11. We're going straight through to the end, except the Gamblers will not be here on November the 27th, I think it is, or the 29th, the Thanksgiving week. I may actually be streaming something, but I don't know what
the
it is
American
yet.
Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes, not the Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
get the Canadian
Canada.
Or Korean Thanksgiving.
That's right.
The Canadian Thanksgiving has maple and also Tim Hortons, so it's better. And so anyhow, although
mine has maple too. All right.
That's true. Yours does have maple in it, so I don't want to.
I'm careful with the maple.
Minimize your identity as a in the New England spaces.
Yeah. So, thank you.
Respect. So let me see. What do I want to tell you? I think that's all of that. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my players, who are amazing. Vulpus asks, "Is my audio low?" It probably is, because I turned off this boost, which was always causing my microphone to drop inexplicably, which I did not like. And so I feel like I am definitely low. I'm seeing myself right now. Thank you, Vulpes. I will fix it. Just testing, test. Getting me about somewhere useful. One more second. I don't know who's typing. Somebody's typing. I don't know who it was. Somebody's causing trouble. Okay, I think I'm now at a slightly better spot. Thank you. I will
No
also, I
typing.
swear,
No typing in this channel.
no, all the time.
How
I'm not
dare
gonna
you?
I'm not gonna say who was typing, but I can tell you it wasn't me, it wasn't Fox, it wasn't Ari, and it wasn't Cord. That's it. So I
Huh.
don't know who it
Usually
was.
Mike doesn't pick it up.
Couldn't tell you. I can tell you who it wasn't.
We would never out who it was.
Good.
And check.
So I'd like to do to name the players right now, the players or trouble goblins. I don't know. And I'm gonna have them each say who they are, and then say who they are playing. And at this moment in the game, I feel like I need to be. There we go. At this moment in the game, our Tagonists, their Camlin Viper has went through a terrible sort of one of these terrible storms that happens on Drinax, because it has been irradiated and it's terrible business. And they lost their engine for a while. It was like a terrible business, and they sort of almost crashed, but through some heroic teamwork, they were able to survive. And the Vespexers, whose city is underground underneath the pillars, the old ruins of one of the capital cities, they have come out in their walkers to meet this group to see what happened, if everybody's okay. And our crew now is being invited to come back to the Vespexer city, Severence's home, as a matter of fact, to get in out of the storm and to have some hospitality. So the question I would like to ask you all is, who are you? Who are you playing? And what does your character expect or anticipate in this new place that they're going to arrive at? And I think I will go with the person who was there most recently, and that will be Greg. Greg, who are you? And who are you playing? And what are they anticipating when it comes to arriving?
Hi, everybody. My name is Greg. I play Dr. Valentine Val Morrissey. I am Warp Reactor over on YouTube. But how does Dr. Val feel about going back to whence he came? I'm not sure if he's really expecting too much, and it's not really from the population that he's expecting anything. He expects there to be trouble with his friends. So I don't think that he's really interested in how the populace of Drinax feels about it as much as he is preparing his ass for a ripping. We'll see. Who knows? High hopes. Back to you.
Interesting. Fascinating. Well, you are wearing a suit, so that gives you a lot of protection from all sorts of ripping of any sort, ass or otherwise. So now, speaking of the next person, wondering, Rocket Fox. No, you can't go next because I'm doing this in this particular order. I'm so sorry. I have to go now to Lindy. Lindy, your
Hi.
character, it's your first time on Drinax, also your first time
Woo.
on Drinax. So who are you? Who are you playing? And what does your character anticipate when it comes to seeing this city on this ruined planet?
Hi, it's me, Laugh Love Lindy, and I will be playing Quint Vesper, the former Solomoni spy, Cirque du Solomoni performer, and now question mark for the gambler, Drinax. I'm at least a gunner. It's fine. I've got my protein
Ace pilot.
shake and
Yeah. Small
yeah.
craft pilot.
Small craft pilot. I wear a lot of hats, especially on the last time we flew on the Gambler, because that was a time. But hopefully we'll never have that time again because we don't have any more children on the ship. And what is Quint expecting from this place? Nothing, really. Quint has zero expectations because we are on a sad, irradiated planet. Life here is like, wow, what a surprise. You know what I'm saying? Like, just the fact that there is a civilization is like, oh, wow, this is sad. But, Quint's seen a lot. It's not going to bother Quint either way. Just be like, I should keep my suit on.
Fair.
Quint
Fair.
doesn't have many opinions about this.
I feel like Quint has many opinions, just does not share them. And those
About
opinions might be about
this.
other things,
Yeah, no, busy thinking about other
Yeah.
stuff. Not thinking about this. It's like, okay, sure,
Yeah.
whatever. Wait up,
Right.
Storm. Why not?
Yeah. So just for the record, I am going in order of connection to this place. So the next person we're going to go to, uh, oh, I really want to do Rocket, but I can't because I want Rocket to go right before Cord. This is how my mind works. So we'll go with the next person on the list. This will be Ari, whose character is from the floating palace and has never been on the surface of Drinax itself, although might have flown around, definitely has flown around the atmosphere a bit, and maybe even through the air. But Ari, who are you? Who are you playing, and what does your character anticipate going into the Vespexer city?
Well, hi there. I'm Ari_Ventures. I'm playing Terrica, and they signed off the most recent email by identifying themselves in a few couple ways. They identified themselves as a pilot for the Gambler, an envoy for Drinax, and liege of the Reppenhausen line. So, I don't think they have any expectations for what to expect in this place. There's been way too much. Like Tirka is
It's not slept.
beyond shock and hasn't slept, and like the fact that they're on their feet right now is, I think, a testament to the fact that they often don't sleep when things are going poorly.
I recall the only person who slept in the last 24 hours uh, is Quint.
I think that's right.
Just noting it for later. So the next up in our cavalcade will be Rocket. Rocket, whose character, well, may or may not have been on the surface of the planet at some point in time for mysterious reasons. I really cannot say. I was not there. But is definitely connected to somebody who has grown up on this planet. Rocket, who are you? Who are you playing? And please tell me, if you would, what your character anticipates coming into this place.
Yes, hello, I am Rocket Fox, your second favorite person, and I am playing the Harlock, who may or may not be an agent of some kind, who is still actively employed by her
Some of us are
people.
ex-agents.
But she is also Zodani and has an incredibly high psionic prowess, and so that may become relevant. Who knows? As far as what she anticipates on the surface, so just speaking from what we've experienced together so far, she's been in Severence's head quite a bit, and so she has seen a lot of whatever he would have shared, the experiences that he had growing up and things like that. So I think she would have a pretty good idea of it in a way that you only can being in someone else's head. And Severance, you can say how much he would have very, very hard tried to hide, just of seeing the surface and that experience and everything. Because I think at the level difference there is psionically, it would have taken a lot of effort to hide just small specific things, much less like the entirety of the experience. So a lot of her connections, and even the amount of time that they've spent connected, a lot of her experiences would come from his memories over her own time there.
Interesting. Interesting. Which leads us to the birthday boy. I actually don't know if it's Severance's birthday. It's kind of tricky to figure out birthdays when you're a clone, I guess. But Cord, who are you? Who are you playing? And tell me what the last time your character is going home, actually. And so, what is your character anticipating? Tell me. I'm so excited.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Cord, or Mythomatic, here on Twitch, or I guess I'm really Mythomatic anywhere else. Hi, it's me. I'm playing Baron Severance, Captain Baron Severance. I'm playing Corsair Captain Baron Severance. I'm playing Admiral Captain Corsair Baron Severance. And he is a renegade clone who has come from the planet, or he's like sort of hidden away from the Imperium on the planet of Drinax, which was supposed to keep him, I guess, out of the plot of his, I guess, his prime to disrupt any sort of shit he had going on. But jokes on him. I grew up on Drinax and have sort of faked it until, or he faked it until he made it as a Corsair Captain Admiral Baron Severence, and as a noble of the Floating Palace, and of course also Drinax. But upon visiting and like revisiting the surface of Drinax, I think Severance is anticipating several things. I think there's a bit of a mixture of identity that is sort of flowing into his sort of like subconscious. I mean, he is always sort of, like I said, faking it until he makes it, but it's usually until when we are in these like survival modes and these survival situations where Severance really begins to become a useful person. And I think that is also something where he can connect to who he is. And I think that is because of the harsh upbringing he had on Drinax. Drinax, for those who don't know, are just joining and being like, what is this place? It's an irradiated planet that was once the home of the Drinaxian Empire, but it was blown to smithereens and irradiated by the Aslan.
Yep.
Thank you. Perfect. By the Aslan, and which are lion people, and they are at a constant war with the Imperium, which is pretty much like the Imperium of Man, Imperium of Man. But they Drinax is in the way, and they've been sort of bombed, and now Drinax is trying to sort of get their foothold back. But Severance also grew up as a Vespexer, one of the people who live on the surface, right? They're not a person who has grown up on the floating palace where they are treated as nobility. So he had to start from literally nothing and irradiated nothing to become what he is now. So there is a bit, I know that he's nervous because he's not sure how the Vespexer are going to look at him. It's kind of like coming from a small town, going to college, moving to the city, coming back a millionaire, and then everybody being like, "Oh wow, okay, buddy," and like okay, goody two shoes, and especially when they can sort of look through and see through the mask that has been held up, or the one that he has been wearing in front of these other people in his life. So there may be people here who know Severance on a more personal child level, or like upbringing, a childhood level, than those that he travels with. So like there's that he sort of is a little bit worried about. He's also has his eyes peeled and like his he's keeping his radar open to any sort of leads about Ruby and what sort of footholds he may have on the surface. We are trying our best still to sort of take down Ruby, and the best way to do that is to try to find any weakness we can. So maybe there is someone here or something here that we can dig up. And without the professor, it makes it harder for us to do what the professor wanted us to do, right? The professor's is on the floating palace in our ship, and he really wanted to come down to the surface, and we're just like,
no, he just wanted,
hey,
he wanted to beat the king. Actually, he just wanted to beat the king because
okay. I thought he wanted to go to the surface the whole time. Okay.
Oh no,
makes me
no,
feel way
he just
better.
wants to beat the king because the king has got the codes to open up the treasure box, and he's like, I need that, and he's waiting for you all, probably.
Okay, well that's nice.
Wesley, Wesley wanted to come down to the surface.
Wesley wanted to come down to the surface.
Yeah, I thought
Wesley wanted to see Drinax.
Right, I was just for some reason thinking that this professor wanted to go into some sort of Sith temple that was on Drinax, and he wanted us to escort him in there.
Oh.
That was just my weird BioWare type of quest that I thought was happening.
There are other Sith temples. You'll get there later.
Okay, good. Oh, perfect. But yeah, that's sort of it. I know that there's a lot of history. It's also like a sore subject, like the surface of Drinax for Severance, because it's like showing in real time the failure that the Empire was, and that's really hard to be like, hey, this is my home.
Yeah.
let's don't forget your mask. Put it on before we go outside because you'll die. It's like, you know, it's
Yeah.
it's not like it's not a charming, cozy home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that is sort of there's just a lot going on when it comes to what he's feeling. It's sort of hard to describe, but I don't know. Hopefully I can make more sense of it in character than me talking about it right now.
And I would say, for the record, Kingdom of Drinax rather than Empire. It was a Sindalian Empire,
That's
but
true,
Drinax
yeah.
was a
It
kingdom.
was a kingdom of it, yeah.
Which makes them seem way less evil empire. Just noting it.
True, it was a kingdom, which is way easier to take care of as opposed to an empire.
Right. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
So, when we last left, you were sort of flying in towards a Vespexer city, but then you hit this terrible storm and you almost crashed but didn't, right outside of the Pillars of Night. The Pillars
Thanks
of
to
Night.
the tree.
Thanks to the tree, and also Val, and actually the whole gang did this together. And even though your power plant is back online, your sensors they're just going haywire. And as you see before you, the Pillars of Night, the ruins of an old city that used to have millions and millions of people in giant arcologies, right? But now all the glass is gone and it's twisted metal. And what you see as the storm rages is that lightning. I don't know if you noticed this, but you know how like really tall metal things are like lightning rods? Well, so this entire ruined city is just one massive field of lightning rods, and all of this lightning is arcing through the sky and hitting these towers and like running down into the ground. It is a very dangerous place to be above ground whenever there's a storm. But all of this also jams all sensors. You cannot use any kind of ship sensors, any kind of sensors at all if you're in the pillars themselves. So the pillars are hard to navigate. They're confusing. They're dangerous. They are uneven. They are, the conditions are bad. It's a hostile airspace full of jagged pieces of metal with lightning bolts arcing through them. Nobody in their right mind would ever fly around here, so people just usually don't, which is probably why the city's here, the Vespexers are. And nobody knows this but Severence. There are living creatures here who aren't very nice, that are dangerous, actually, quite dangerous, and can jump and can leap quite high and might attack ships as they were flying. Luckily, your ship is a stealth ship, so that was a little bit easier for you all.
Love that.
Severance, they're called fungal voles. They're like
fungal voles.
Yeah, they're like
Right.
cockroaches,
Yeah, okay.
but they're the size of like an elephant,
Okay. So not a cockroach at all. Got it.
but like a cockroach, and
Okay.
they've got spores all over their body, and
I hate it.
yeah, and also those spores are bad for you, and also they're underground, like to burst up from the ground and also ambush people. So
Elephant sized. No typing, Lindy. Elephant sized.
It's not me this time.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
they can jump-
definitely wasn't.
Mine's not mechanical.
But they are, strong enough to be able to jump. They can jump high enough to like attack ships that are flying in, or hawk, or like dragon rocketeers, anything like that. So anyhow, at this moment, these big sort of like walkers, kind of like AT-ATs, right, sort of come in. There are like 3 of them have come to gather you. Well, actually, they actually came to see about you all died, if they need to clear up wreckage, but it turns out you did not die. So they are not, but you probably do not want to fly the Camlin Viper at this point in time until, you probably want to leave it here until the storm passes. And there are 3 of these walkers, and they are cobbled together, a little bit rickety, but one of them has this sort of slash across it, which makes it seem like it might be a bit more important in paint. And at this moment, because they called in and communicated with Severance, that that one with the slash is actually Severance's walker, and there are 2 others, and the walkers stop, and one of the hatches opens, and like there's like a ladder comes down, and the three have their hatches open and the ladders come down, waiting for you all to embark as the storm continues to rage.
Embark into their walkers,
Mm-hmm.
like separately, or like let's
Well,
all
they're not
huddle into one.
huge, right? They're not like the biggest thing in
Right.
the entire universe.
Got like a
They
tiny
carry,
little
like-
cargo bay.
Yeah. So you can probably get about like two extra, but there are 5 of you. So
Hmm.
Well, this is easy. Severance and the Harlock go in one, Val and Terrica go in one, and I get in the last one.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, okay. Easy
Yeah,
peasy.
I mean,
I was gonna say the Harlock would follow where Severance goes.
There you
That's
go.
because I knew
Weird.
that was part of the
There
thing.
you go. All right.
I was like,
Yeah,
and
I
it's not
think I
going to be
would.
Quint and Val hop in another one, you know? It just wasn't going to.
Oh, they would both love that.
That'd
Yeah.
be hilarious.
That being said, I do think that Severance like confidently goes, "Oh, good, they're here," and then just makes his way up onto one, almost without questioning, and just sort of, I guess, what's the word? It seems almost out of character for him to confidently just go up a ladder.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe it's not out of character. Like these are strangers. Let me just go.
To be
They're
fair,
here.
he's
Never mind.
been
maybe,
climbing these ladders since he started this game.
Right, but I
it's
mean,
true,
like,
actually.
yeah, it's not nice. It's not necessarily out of character for you. Like, wow, it's a shitty storm. Let's just go to safety quickly. Never mind. No, it's not out of character. But anyway, he does. That's what he does. Confidently, just sort of leaps up the ladder.
And the
think-
Harlock follows, yes, into that
Yeah.
one. Mm-hmm. 2 more walkers.
I'd like to
Terrica.
batten the hatches a little on the Camlin Viper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be the last to get into a walker. And tick, tick, lock it.
I think Terrica was crying when we last left them, but I think they like recomposed themselves and they've got that like I'm fine sort of that sort of like I'm fine look on their face at this point.
Where do you two go since Quint is last?
So
are
Val's
2
in the
walkers.
suit,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Val should probably.
I won't do anything fancy. I'm just gonna climb into one of the walkers. I technically
Okay.
you could fly back, but
yeah,
It
is
that's what I was
dangerous.
thinking.
yeah.
It's also pretty
Okay.
dangerous.
Terrica's gonna follow Val.
Interesting. I'm so surprised. And then up to you two go. And they shut that gate, which means, Lindy, you have your own walker to climb into.
That's fine. Again, I just make sure everything's battened down as much as it can be for leaving the ship alone for a bit, and then tick, tick, and I'll go into the walker that hasn't shut its hatch. Yeah.
I think before Terrica leaves, they just like exchange a look with Quint, like you've got the ship, right? Like that sort of like
Yeah.
because
Thumbs up.
they've yeah.
Thumbs up as I'm like powering things
they
like
go.
down and like closing window shutters and things, and
Because, this is a bad place for electronics.
which is
Let's-
why I'm turning off and unplugging things, and I said that out loud. So,
No, it's like a hurricane. It's like you know what hurricanes are like, you know?
Well, I've never known what a hurricane is like living in Florida.
So we'll go backwards. Quint, you climb up this ladder.
Yep.
And you get up into
Pretty
this
easily.
walker. Yep. I mean, I feel like you've done that before. And
Of
when you
course.
sort of walk in, the walker itself is not super huge. Again, we're talking about a society that does not have factories and so cannot make new things, but can fix things. So these are things that have been around for a very long time. And on the inside of this walker itself has enough space for, let's say, a driver, probably a gunner, and then like a passenger, and then a bit of cargo space. Clearly, they're using this for to move around.
Scavenging runs.
Yes, for scavenging runs, right? But these look to be in not the best shape, although they probably are in. They're probably some of the best they got.
Uh-huh.
And when you walk up on the inside, you see this sort of like a young woman who looks. I do need to say whenever I describe somebody as young, please think they also look divorced because they have a hard life, right? Like
They
slightly
look
leathery.
like they smoke, and
Yes.
suntan and are divorced and
Yes,
maybe are ill.
just low key. You know what I mean? Just low
Yeah.
key.
Tell me you're from Florida without telling me you're from Florida.
And maybe a little meth. You know what I mean? Just a
I
little
was
meth
gonna.
too.
I didn't say it when it looks like they do meth.
But there's like this sort of
I know
and
the people
still
you talk about. Yeah, I've seen
fully,
them every week.
fully in their
Mhm.
gear.
Like the faceplate. Yeah.
Yeah, and the gear itself is hodgepodge and cobbled together, right? It's not
Mhm.
fancy or nice. It's like a piece of this, a piece of that. Some of them looks like they must have been maybe even from something that wasn't actually even armor, but sort of
Retrofitted. Yeah.
retrofitted to be armor. And in there's this sort of young man, and that when you kind of look, he's got within his faceplate, a bit of sandblast damage, as it were, on his face. He's just a bit of a hard life. And he goes, welcome the Walker.
Thank you very much. Your timing was excellent.
Well, we heard you coming in and wanted to come and help if we could. We're glad to see that you're not dead. You're with the Baron, right?
Yes, your help is appreciated.
How long have you
Severance,
been
yes.
traveling? Yes. The savior of the Poison Gate.
We've been here, and I'll just look at my timepiece and say however long that we've been.
It's been
Not long.
30 hours total, but
Yeah.
since you've come to the planet.
Yeah, little over a day.
Oh, well, we don't get many visitors down here. No, and the trading never happens around here. It's too dangerous. So we here in this city almost never
I could
get
see
any.
how that could make the weather could make things dangerous. Yes, among
Normally
other
we-
things.
And he just kind of taps a sensor that's not really working. He kind of looks at us. We should probably keep going. There are
Yep.
other things. By the way, what is your name?
Quint. It's nice to meet you.
He puts out a hand, still an armored hand.
Yeah, and this is obviously different than the floating palace. So I want to see if he's going for the arm, the handshake, what kind of.
Elbow, arm to elbow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I'll go in and then figure it out and then the clasp.
They call me Pee-wee.
Pee-wee. Nice
quite
to meet
tall.
you, Pee-wee.
Well, we're gonna follow behind the Baron. It's been a long time since we've seen him. I don't know if you were involved with keeping him safe, but thank you.
I do what I can.
Who are you all?
We are his ship's crew.
Oh.
I'm the newest
He's,
one though, so I'm afraid I don't have many stories to tell.
Well, welcome. We'll be taking to our capital. It's called Capital. That's it. Come on. If you want, you can sit in the gunner seat. If you see any
Shoot!
bowls, yes, please.
I imagine I know what they'll look like if I see one.
Oh, you will, and I hope you
All
don't.
right. Same then, but I will be prepared just in case, and I'll slide into the gunner seat and just kind of quickly familiarize myself with the controls here. Okay, trigger click. Okay, that cycles ammo. Okay, that's that. No, I'll just go over like a gunner because I am a gunner.
You haven't had any rips in your suit yet, have you?
No, not yet, thankfully.
Yeah, good. If you do, say something. Also,
Don't worry, I will.
if I can give you a tip, flying's not good, walking's better. and you can just and the little walker like sort of rises up on its little metallic feet and starts to follow the other two who've left a little bit beforehand. And now let's go to the next one over. Val and Terrica. When you climb up into your walker, the walker itself is, again, kind of janky. It's like a janky little walker, right? And when you sort of come in, there's this pilot there. And this pilot is like this super, super, super heavy set woman with, like, this is a scavenger party. So they probably gave them the best armor that they have. So, like, at least full sets, mostly, generally speaking, more or less. Full sets of armor. The seal's in there. Seal's a little tricky, but it's going on. And there's like this massively huge woman, super broad-shouldered, very little neck, just like there behind this seat, squeezed in because the walker cockpit is kind of small. These are not the biggest things ever. Gunner seat, bit of cargo space in the back. And this woman, she goes, "Hey, companions of the Baron, yes? Come on in. Close up after yourselves."
Terrica
so.
will, yeah.
All right, you idiots flying around in a storm. What were you doing?
Val will look at Terrica.
Terrica will look at the floor for a minute, and then they'll look back at Val and they'll say, "Looking for you."
The doctor. Well, he's a real piece of work. I'm Large Marge, by the way.
I'm Terrica.
We are in Borderlands, everybody. I'm just saying it.
Yeah,
We
it's
are.
true.
Pandora, we are
This
in
is
Borderlands.
Pandora.
That is
mean,
the
this
voice
may
I've been
be-
hearing in my head.
This may be a true statement.
Catch a ride.
Catch a ride.
Catch a ride. So, this, you were here for the doctor? You're not going to take him away from us, are you?
He's part of our crew.
This guy? Well, I don't know if
Yeah.
he's going to be part of your crew for much longer. He's got a lot of work to do here.
Val just shrugs at Terrica.
Yeah.
Terrica knows Val well enough. Like, is this a shrug of like, yeah, I lied to him and here we go? Or is this like, what kind of a shrug is this?
That is exactly what the shrug is. I lied to them, and this is just an easy way to get through this. So
Okay.
he
Terrica
didn't
will
lie,
just like,
but I mean,
you know, to be fair, I don't think they ever lied when they were gambling either. It was
true.
just omissions of the truth.
Yep. Well,
the truth is only there to be asked. If nobody asks for it, then you don't get it.
Then why would you share it? Yeah,
You just
no,
don't
absolutely.
offer truth. I mean, that's not. It's
Terrica
insanity.
knows that. They absolutely know that. So then they'll just
Oh.
look back at Large Marge and they'll say, "It sounds like he did a lot of good here."
Oh, he did. He actually, actually, the doctor, you didn't know this, but, that woman who was giving birth, that was my wife. And, thank you. I would have liked to spend some time with my child, but apparently had to go and rescue you all. Didn't actually know you'd be alive. I thought maybe you'd be dead, but it turns out you're not. Good on you.
Thanks. Thank you for coming to rescue us. That was very, very kind.
Large Marge turns as, like, the walker starts rising up and beginning to walk, pauses and goes, can tell by your voice you're the palace.
That's right.
All right, noble. Don't really. You're not a traitor. It doesn't look like. We know who that is. Yeah. Welcome to your
Thank
home
you.
planet. Let's go. And she just like cranks it up, and the walker follows the lead walker, which had left just a few seconds before. And in that walker, when Severence and the Harlock ride up into the cockpit, the driver immediately gets out of the cockpit, Goes, oh, Baron Severance, and just comes to give you the hug. There's this. He's like maybe like 24, like mid 20s. Strong.
Come here, pal.
And he just gives you this big hug, and like it's a lot of slapping on the back. Do you know what I mean? It's a little aggressive, but in that kind of we have a hard life kind of way. You know. And he steps out like, well, it's been well, what, almost a year since you went off to the stars, the palace.
Has it been that long? I mean, I'm actually asking you because I really don't know. It's hard to tell the passage of time when you're in the stars.
Well, I mean, and he stops and he goes, it's actually been 12 years before you went away. I was
Right.
really young when you left.
Well, a lot has happened. Has it been a year or 12 years?
Well, both. The last time you visited was about a year ago.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But 12 years since you went off to college, the scholars town.
Well, we don't have to talk about that. It's fine. How have you been? How's this? Is this my walker?
This is your walker, and that's why
How
he's out
is
of
it?
the cockpit.
Good. How has she been? And as I sort of like slap the side of it, how's the old Hexus Ranger?
It's okay. I've kept her working for you.
Good.
After you left, I didn't know if I was still a squire or not, but I guess I am. I'm still your squire.
Oh, good. And remind me of your name.
You have to give him a name.
I have to give him a name.
Yeah, you have to give him a name because he's your squire. So you give him a name.
That's how that works.
I've decided right now.
Okay. I'm just gonna Squire. It's gonna be. I put all my creative juices into Hexus Ranger, so I don't know.
That's good. Go. I wrote it down.
Greg just posted one in chat. That's hilarious.
Malcolm Brace, because he likes to hug.
Oh.
Yeah, Malcolm Brace.
It's now Malcolm Brace. It is now canon. Malcolm's. The last time you would have seen him, really, he would have been like 13. Right, he would have been like
an IP
about 13.
Where is it? Right. Right. Malcolm, Maloney, how are you? It's been a bit. It's been you grown up. I could tell it was you from the amount of slaps you gave me on my back.
Well,
always been a 13 slapper.
Well, I try. So, are you back for good?
No. We're just passing through, really. There is a lot of things that the king has invited me up to meet all of this. This is the Harlock. This is a part of my crew, and this is Malcolm Brace, my squire.
Yes, charmed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the others as well are all part of my crew.
Oh.
Yes.
I never got knighted because you left, but it's good to see.
And now I am immediately feeling like that's my fault.
No. I mean, you had to go off up to the palace, I guess.
There was no one here to knight you.
Well, but I was your squire, sir.
So okay, right.
I didn't want to be knighted by anybody else.
And that's how that works. Oh, so you've just been sitting here for 13 years waiting for me to come back?
Yes.
Sounds a bit fanatical, Malcolm.
Well,
all right. Yes. Well, let's make sure we can maybe get you knighted. while I'm here. How does that sound?
I would appreciate that because I wouldn't want to be knighted by anybody else but you, the savior of the Poison Gate.
Thank you. There's no need to remind me of the Poison Gate savioring, especially not now. But at some point, I would like you to remind me of it.
But no one could forget.
Except, unless you... Yes, unless you're... Yes, no one could.
Well, would you... I'll be your gunner.
Yes, well, do you want me to... Are you sure it's been a bit? It has been a while since I've gotten the old Hexus Ranger.
Well, I'm sure that you can still dodge the fungal voles like anything.
Well, we'll see about that. Okay, so let's make sure everything's all lined up, and as he just sort of straps in, I feel like the walker isn't really a seat. I feel like it's more of a standing cockpit where you sort of stand against the wall. There are straps, but those are mainly sensors to know how the walk and movements work. As he sort of like straps in, he puts the like a roller coaster, whatever that thing is, harness down as that sort of secures you in space. But as you do begin to walk, the straps around your legs will simulate, and that will articulate the limbs underneath. As I begin to like put my arms into the metal brackets that would be the sleeves that would control the sensors of the arms. If there are any arms in this walker, there probably aren't, but it's still enough to at least get, at least on one of these walkers where there are no arms, those are that's how the body/head would move. Right, exactly.
Yep.
So it's got like that direct drive, much like a hang glider, I think. So as he begins to use it to walk us back.
Can I roll a telepathy?
Sure. What do you want to do?
I think as soon as they get situated to where they're on their way, I think the Harlock would connect and check in on Severance.
Please make that telepathy roll.
I love it.
Sure will.
You need a 4 because...
Oh, that's a 16. Will be
Excuse me. Just for the record, because
Jesus.
Because it's how we roll. I believe that there is.
She's suddenly in his head, like right there.
Oh yeah, just like right there.
I start hallucinating. Get out of there! It's so obvious you're in my mind.
Could I ask, and please, if you would,
spend actually, 16. Probably you can be as stealthy as you want.
If you would please spend the point for it. It's just the mind link. It's just 1.
Okay.
That is such an extraordinary roll. Severance will not have to roll himself. What does Severance's inner mind world look like at this point in time?
So I think initially our camera would see Severance in the setup, ready to pilot this thing, and he would still be piloting it in meat space. But then there's there's a turning, and
it's my favorite website.
You know, everything. Very cyberpunk. But yeah, the camera goes kind of round and round and round, and then all of a sudden they're in that cabin from the Lost Year.
Yeah. Okay.
And I imagine he'd just be standing in that same position in the middle of the room, and
I feel like I'm simulating that position, but in a lounge chair, like in a lazy boy sofa, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the Harlock is there and probably wearing whatever she would have been wearing at the time, looking as if she's from that time period. And she would have been wearing something a little bit different than kind of the black tight assassin clothes. And is just like leaning up against the desk.
Where are we? And I like start rolling around in the lazy boy, and I flip the lever, and what? Why are we here? Why are we here?
Severance, how are you doing?
Well, I was in the zone a moment ago. I was about to start walking in the Hexus Range. Have you seen that? It's a beautiful piece of machinery.
Oh, I've seen it before. Don't worry, you're still functioning at peak condition, and would gesture out the window, and if you look out the window,
Cool.
you would see like kind of through the
Yeah.
through his eyes as he's actually still piloting.
Cool, love that. Oh, yes. Well, good. Thank you. I am all right. Thank you for checking in. May I go now?
Severance, you didn't. And she comes up kind of behind him and puts her hands on the backs of his shoulders and then walks around. You didn't exactly do wonderfully the last time we came.
Well, I have context now. Contextually, I am much more confident about this visit. It's just, I don't want, it's very difficult for me to be
Severance,
proud
it's
of
us.
something so, it's a wasteland. Oh, like my home is an irradiated mess. I feel like there could have been more beauty when we were being stalked by those psionic cats in that storm. It's almost like I feel like there's nothing here. We are here for an unknown reason besides needing to be here for. I'm not comfortable enough to feel like I could be a host that they all deserve.
Severance, and she comes forward and she takes his hands, and it's not the kind that would happen now, but like that would have happened well
Yes.
before.
Then.
Yes.
Severance, we all come from difficult places. And then she kind of turns and gestures toward, in the orientation of the building, where the tree would be from there. Yes, it's rough out there, but you're making a difference.
Well, the difference is all well and good. It's not that, it's just...
You'll continue to make a difference up there.
I don't know why we're here. I don't know why we're on Drinax right now. I know that we needed to get here, but I feel like there's more things on... I know there's more things on the floating palace that deserve our attention than for us to be here now.
Well, if anything, I feel it's important that you are here. Just now.
Right, but it feels selfish for me to have this therapeutic space for me to be here now when there is so much that needs to be done for Drinax and for the gamblers and for everyone else. Including Wesley, including Quint.
Well, we still have time to get done everything we need to get done, and I don't think they would mind. Besides, we all had important experiences back there. When you got your Viridium.
Mm-hmm. Well, then, yeah, good. That's good. We got the Viridium. Let's get repairs and let's get back up. We'll wait for we'll wait. Yes, that's a great idea. We'll get repairs. We'll wait for the storm to pass, and then we could head back up to the palace and then begin our seizing of Ruby. Fuck that guy.
And she'll kind of lean closer for a second and smile. So you'll be fine, though. And you'll let me know if you're not.
Yes. Of course. I mean, I would have... You know when I'm... I mean, yeah, I don't really... I could say... Well, it doesn't matter what I say, Harlock. You know, and you could see right through me.
And she kind of her face turns back, and then if you pull back a little bit, then she's in her current assassin's outfit, and they're in back in the actual space.
And you
Yes.
hear Malcolm saying, is that right?
Is what right? What was that? Say again.
You said something about the space? What was that?
I said I'm just gonna need a little bit of space if we're going to get to where we need to go. Which heading are we going, Malcolm? Which I can't. It's been 13 years. Which is my heading?
Main gate, sir.
Main gate. Thank you. Yes. All right. Here we go. And I think like if the camera was to pull out, you'd start to see the walker maybe trip over itself. As the thing just people probably inside would whoa as like probably go to as they go to catch or like the whole thing begins to tip as it's sort of catching itself. But as a walker or those creepy ass robot dogs do, when you kick them over, they like right themselves up.
Yep.
That sort of happens here.
Yep.
As exactly. As the walker, the Hexus Ranger, the Walker Hexus Ranger, begins to we got there. Begins to then right itself and make its way towards the main gate.
And as you three walkers are moving, carefully, because this is very uneven ground, and there is at any moment some big, huge lightning strike that might just hit you from the big, huge lightning rods above. There's the ruins of this place, and you never know if there might be at any moment a fungal vole that might be waiting to ambush. Who has the worst luck?
Probably me. Canonically. And, well, I mean, today I have 3, but I'm pretty sure that's still worse than everyone else's.
I believe that's the worst. Yeah. Because it is you, Severance, could you give me a luck roll, but with a boon, because this is your home?
Of course. Luck roll. Boon submit. I got an 8. I passed your luck roll.
Oh, yes, you did.
Not spending anything.
As you are moving, right, through the ruins of this city, there are numerous times when lightning strikes just strike, and you're able to dodge, to move, to weave, to make sure you just don't hit it. And they're like, this is a very, you're used to this. Everybody else, this place sucks. This place is super dangerous. Do not fly here. Do not fly here. Do not walk around unless you're in a walker. You know what I mean? Like this is, and there's like, there's a moment when like a bit of a lightning strike just barely grazes the walker, but nothing too bad, and you would probably not want to.
It's pretty hard to be a walker too, because it's also windy, you know. So like, maybe I don't know. Maybe these walkers have 4 legs. I don't know, but yeah, anyway,
they've got like I think they've got like massive big base.
It's got
Like
Gundam legs.
Huge feet.
Because it's an AT-AT, not an ATST. They're more stable than.
Well, no, because it's a walker, so it's only 2 legs. It's like it's a 2-legged walker.
Well, but it's like AT-AT, which is a 4-legged one, because it's an all-terrain, and not scout terrain, which is a 2-legged.
It's just the ability to be able to pick up and move. It's not the number of legs.
Yeah.
I would argue.
You could have a 6-legged walker. They're all walkers.
You could have a centipede walker. Oh my god.
That'd be really cool.
But like these have got like huge, like really big round, sort of like really wide disc feet, right? So give it a lot of space.
Okay.
And
because it's used to this.
It's used to this, and it crushes things that need to be crushed, you know? And as you sort of make your way into the pillars, and I will tell you, the pillars of night are not a place to be, really. But that's where y'all's capital city is. And as you walk through this mess, you get to the gates. And the gates are a big, massive metal, like super, super wide metal gate that's in the ground itself. And as you approach, clearly they've got people watching, the gates themselves open, leading into like a tunnel, a massive tunnel that leads deep underground, all sort of metal. And this is the way in. to the city itself. Or what's left of it, as it were.
Press onward.
Terrica's mostly just like sat down after that short conversation with their head in their hands. That's all they're doing. Just
And Large Marge is telling stories. Let me tell you, it was the worst accident I'd ever seen. A garbage truck. And just sort of like tells you like these really random stories of, you're not quite certain how true they are, but they're interesting at least. And you make your way down in, and there's like a bay, like a walker bay. And there are a number of walkers, and also like it's like their motor pool, right? So the first place you come in, it's this motor pool, and there are like there's like a good number. There's more than one gate probably, but there's like a good number of walkers. But I mean, not that many walkers. A couple of like jeeps, a couple of there's like maybe one air raft, but it doesn't look like it's working. Like they don't seem to have a lot of materials. There are also in here like 3 grebes that are sort of tied up, sort of there.
Nice.
Grebes are very hardy creatures, and they sometimes ride them, right? Like they sometimes caravan with them.
They're walkers. They count. Those count as walkers.
Do
They
want
count.
some more?
The grebes count as walkers, but they only have like 3 of them there. And
Threebs.
Threebs, they stop them, and they hitch to get the ladders coming down. Everybody starts disembarking to go to the airlock that will get you into the actual place itself. And this motor pool is like massive, huge. It's like a 15, 20, no, probably it's like a 30-foot ceiling. This huge 30-foot ceiling, you're underground, massive space, huge doors. And as you all clamber out, Malcolm goes and calls in, we're at the gate, you can let us in. And after a couple of beeps, one of the gates to the inner airlock sort of opens. I imagine you go through the airlock, it's like a waiting for all the air to circulate, because they just do not want lots of radiation down here. That would be real bad. As like the inner doors open. For those of you who are not Severance, this place is like massive wide tunnels, like super wide tunnels that people can walk on. And they seem to just go on forever. And as you are sort of walking, being led in deeper to this place, you can see on either side, you can see like hatchways, doorways to rooms that are, Terrica, bigger than you've ever seen on the Floating Palace. There's like so much space. It's like you see a room that on the palace would probably house like 7 people, and there's just like one person in there, like sitting, polishing, repairing, fixing things.
and it doesn't look like a whole family would, like maybe the rest of the family's out. It looks like this might be one person's, like just one person.
Just one person's suite. And it's massive. It's huge. And they're all huge. All of the spaces are huge. And these corridors that I'm telling you about, they're not cluttered with anything. There might be some crates here or there, but like the whole place is just like open. I mean, you're underground with like 2 feet, 5 foot, 10 foot, like thick metal walls and all of that. But like the space, like people are wandering. Nobody's crowded onto each other. You don't have like this. I mean, there's just so much space. As you're walking, you seem to like walk forever without even seeing people. Like you just see like one person here, one person there. It's not like on the Floating Palace, you will always have people all the time, everywhere, because there's just no space. And it's just open space. It's different. None of the people seem to have, what is not here, there's not diamonds, there's not gold, there's not gilded filigree everywhere. In the Floating Palace, everything is gilded filigree. And there's not there's not 20,000 great works of art stacked up everywhere. Like statues, paintings. It's actually quite empty, which yes, it's quite different from the palace itself. Things are mostly gunmetal gray. Some things are rusted. There's not a lot here, but um, it's very open. As you all move in towards, they bring you in. Severance, you know where they're taking you. They're taking you to the central, like off the central chamber. Like you go through, you head away to like this big central chamber, which is like it's like an open, it's like an open place where there's like benches and tables, and there are people like laughing. Everyone's got their suits off now. There are alarms everywhere just in case there's a breach somewhere. Like you've got like readouts everywhere. But in this it's this huge, massive open space. It's bigger than the park, and there are people there on tables, laughing, playing cards. There's like a granite board over there. They're just like kind of people like wandering about. And you all notice as you're walking that people notice two people right away. They notice Severance, and everybody nods to Severance. Not everybody. There's like a mix of feelings as Severance is coming in. Quite a few people nod with respect. Some people, there's a mix of feelings. But then also Val.
I give the mix of feelings back. I raise you mixed feelings.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And then people
Who
notice
can play
Val,
in that game.
right? With like nodding with respect to Val. And Malcolm moves you off this massively huge, just like, and by the way, everything's artificial lighting. It's all artificial lighting. Not like in the floating palace, you have the technology to make it simulate night and day. So everything looks quite natural, like natural sunlight. It's not, but it looks that way. It's actually quite, and like the dome of the floating palace will look like a blue sky or a night sky. And you can see, there's a lot of holographic technology in the dome that makes it look like you can see trends. You can see constellations, and there's sometimes like art that happens up there. But this is just, that kind of like, those artificial lights you'd see like in a mine where you can sort of like pick it up, right? Like kind of like walk around with them in like cages. And you've got this space, and there's actually quite a lot of people here, but they're not densely packed, if that makes any sense. And you're sort of walked off to like a side, like off the side to a side corridor. You go down a little bit farther, and then you're brought into a room. This room is, again, for somebody on the floating palace, quite large. And in this room, it looks like Severance, this is like the main office of
This is the main office of the chieftain.
And in this office, you see two people, the chieftain's daughters, Teresias and Medea. And I'm going to make sure I can bring you all there. Let me bring you to this space.
For no reason.
I just want you to see what they look like.
Let
me bring you there.
I just want everybody to have your tokens ready for no reason.
just in case you wanted, I think that's fine. There we go. I think, have I gotten you there? Are you there? I don't know if you are.
No.
Fine.
We're on the gambler.
No, I don't want you to be on the gambler.
I want you to take me there
want you to,
on the roll 20.
There, I got you there. Roll 20.
Sick.
And so when you come in, for the audience, you can see we have our slideshow, and our slideshow has a bunch of the characters who are here on Drinax. I've not put these two up there yet, but for those who need to know, Chieftain Galx, who's up in the floating palace, is Tina Turner from Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome, right? And these are their two daughters, and Val has met Medea. Medea seems to be like the acting person in charge of this place while the chieftain is gone. And then there's this, complicated, but there's this other figure who is dressed in sort of like gold and purple jewelry. Again, nobody has really great stuff here, but still very well maintained. And Severance,
for gold, gold is pretty great, but also not as valuable here.
Yes, because what are you going to do with it?
Right. You're right.
It's also morning and
it's
loss.
also morning on Drinax, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
Well, on the floating
Very,
palace.
very plentiful.
Yeah. And
Right.
excuse me.
Terrica does the bow, like the appropriate
And purple and some lilac,
set of
lavender.
bows.
And you know Severance, both of these people. You know Medea, who is the daughter of the chieftain and will probably take over leadership, and is often in charge of things when the chieftain is up on the floating palace. The chieftain does not live on the floating palace and does not stay full time in the floating palace, but whenever the palace sort of crosses over your landing spot, which is, by the way, nowhere near here. Like, all the trading happens quite far away because this is not a good place to try to land anything, right? So there's always like a caravan right out to that space, and many of the other Vespexer sort of tribes and groups will sort of converge there for all the trading, and they've got like a shuttle that'll go from that landing spot to the floating palace and back to do trade, to try to get food, medicine, all that kind of stuff. And the Vespexers will often trade metal, scrap metal, so that the people in the palace can try to fix things. But the chieftain will go up and will be there for, like, a week or two and then come back down. And while the chieftain is gone, her daughter Medea is in charge of things. Tiresias, you also know. Tiresias is the mystic of the Vespexers, sort of like a priestess or a wise woman, although he identifies as a woman but uses he pronouns because he sort of is a bit of a figure that's sort of like a divine sort of duality. And
Cool.
Tiresias is the one who, whenever anyone has an important life moment, will read their divination. Is somebody who is sort of respected as a mystic, as a seer, as a diviner, and is one of the people who does quite a bit of mental health, I suppose is the best way to put it, in the community when people are having troubles, need someone to talk to. And Tiresias has always been somewhat kind. He's the younger daughter of Galx, and, things as they are, family politics. But when you walk in, Tiresias stands and he smiles at you and he goes, "Well, Severance, it has been quite some time. I did not think that we would see you anytime soon." And Medea is like, "No, I did not think we'd see you anytime soon, Baron Severance of the Floating Palace."
What's my history with them? Both
One
Medea.
moment. I need to swap that out because I'm getting the wrong ones. My sound was going from the wrong place, but it looks like it has been fixed. Would you say something for me?
I said, what's my relationship with them? Like, would I, it seems like I didn't leave them on, both of them, on a great note.
What's the history here?
I think that's
What's the
complicated,
history here?
right?
Yeah, like,
You
it
went off to
seems
college, didn't you?
complicated.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You went off.
Yeah.
You went off to college, and by the way, would one of you
Tiresias
just? There we
seems
go.
very forgiving.
Quick
Yes,
question though. You
immediately.
had said a couple of different colors
Yes.
that she's wearing. You'd said purple,
Yes.
gold, and I thought I heard lavender. Was there another color, or are those the three?
Those are the three. It's like
Okay.
main is purple with some lavender accents, and the jewelry is in gold.
Okay.
I would say we know that you went away for a while, right?
Yeah.
That you basically left the surface of the planet about 12 years ago to go to college. Then you got kicked out of college, and then you left the palace to become a merchant. That didn't work out. Then you became a pirate, basically, and now you've come back and you took this assignment, which meant that you've been gone for like 12 years, more or less. And then you were back, and you were probably back down on the surface briefly until you got the mission to go on the Gambler. So you've been gone a long time. and you went up to the floating palace to go and get a big education, and you did not come back. And people haven't seen you for a while, but you are also a great hero because you did a great deed that great enough that you were made a baron by the chieftain. You're just going to tell me what that is because I'm leaving that up to you. But something great that has to do with being the savior of the Poison Gate, that you did something really important and important enough that they recognized you as a great hero and a great hope for the Vespexers. And probably, to be honest, it has something to do with the fact that your mentor died, right? There was that terrible thing when you had your mentor who died, something around that most likely. But you were a golden son in certain ways for the Vespexers in certain ways. And then you left, and you have not been back. And I imagine people have feelings about that, is what I would say. I would imagine you probably had a very close relationship with both Medea and Tiresias, since the chieftain was the one who actually advocated that you get onto the Gambler in the first place. I believe your relationship with the chieftain is probably quite good. And you probably also grew up with Medea and Tiresias. Like, you probably actually are around similar ages, and you probably grew up with them. So you probably had close relationships with both of them at one point in time until you left them for 12 years. And I'm sure one of them might be bitter. But I think it's fine. I'm sure it's... but you haven't spoken to them recently, so you probably have to find out how they're doing. But I would say that Medea and Tiresias, all three of you had pretty, like, around the same ages. You had really close relationships. Yeah, especially after your mentor died, right? Who's just sort of like a father figure for you. I would imagine that they sort of pulled you in and kept you in their household. That said, all the Vespexers are pretty close. They're pretty tight-knit because it's a very terrible environment. So everybody kind of pulls together pretty strongly, whichever group you're part of.
Right.
Yes, but Baron, savior of the Poison Gate, knight with a squire and your own walker. People haven't seen you in a while.
The valiant steed. The Hexus Ranger.
That's
so
correct.
we... so they just don't seem happy. Tiresias, good to see you.
And he stands up and he walks over to you, and he clasps
You
your
as well,
hands.
Medea.
And he says,
"This is my favorite." Yes.
"It is good to see you. Would you like something to eat? We have paste. We have some water, crackers."
I'm going to pass on the food that you offer, just because I already ate. I already had food, right? We're not hungry, everyone.
We can bring out food for everyone. We have paste.
Well, yeah, do you have a variety of paste?
Well, we don't have any spices, I'm afraid, but we have basic paste.
All right, that's all right. I mean, as long as we have the food map, we'll be good.
Yes. And by the way, Medea is just giving you the stink eye. It's like
I think I'm just sort of eyeing Medea this whole time, like sort of ignoring.
Kind of like kind of that look you give to an ex when like your ex ghosted you and you're having feelings about it. That kind of a vibe, you know. Like, how come I haven't heard from you in a while? That kind of, that kind of vibe. Someone's having feelings over there. Just like leaning up against like one of the walls, watching. Well, and Therese is the one who's speaking. He says, "Please, why don't you introduce me to your friends? I mean, I already know the doctor.
Well, this is the Harlock. This is Tiresias, one of the divine of the Vespexers. Speaking of divine, we also have Terrica of House Liege of
No.
House.
Terrica will just like start all the bows, the appropriate bows, and then they'll stop and
yeah.
stand and
And there's this pause, and Tiresias looks at Medea, and Medea looks at Tiresias like, really? There's clearly some sort of sibling thing going on there, and then Medea comes and does the bows with the dance steps. Medea's Severus. Medea was always the best at of the two. Medea was always better at the dance steps.
And she always tried to teach me how to do it, and I couldn't. So,
Yes.
yep.
And
Uh-huh.
Trazus nods, like, I'm not going to do the dance steps 'cause I'm never really good at them, like, and just kind of like does the best at it.
Medea does enough for the rest of us. This is Quint as well. Quint is a fantastic asset to our team. This is Val, you know Val, and that's the doctor, and there he is of that Val, and that's really it. No one else is here. No Wesley's in here. I really wish Wesley was, so I could still say that.
And also, Wesley wanted to see the planet, but it's fine.
And no one's here, and there's no one else to care about.
I'm taking pictures for Wes. Some video.
Oh, this is so nice. And
This is gonna be like, this isn't as nice as I imagined.
yeah.
Tracy says, well,
Just to
come, please sit. And like gestures to this sort of nice large table that is made out of like petrified wood. That had somehow like it is like this is like the wood that you have. It's this petrified wood table. It's quite large. It's almost like it's a round table. Various knights might sit there, and they sort of leave the seats for you all. And Teresa says, "Well, I will get the food for you both, for all of you."
Hey.
And Medea goes, "No, I'll do it. No need." And Medea just giving you the stink eye, walks out to go get the food.
I don't remember what I did.
Would the Harlock have met Tiresias and Medea last time?
Probably.
Okay.
I think that is likely. In which case, yeah, there's clearly some kind of like, Medea's still mad at Severance for leaving and just not coming back. Still mad about it. Still mad about it. And Tiresias, you would say, has some sort of like low-level psionics, but is probably not consciously aware of them. But like, that's your like, probably sort of like an untrained psionicist who has never had any training and has got some kind of like intuitionism, I'd call it.
I think the Harlock would lean forward kind of toward Tiresias and just indicate some friendly manner, and just say, it seems Medea is still in her feelings.
Well, yes, she is. She took it hard when Severance left. Everyone has the right to their dreams.
Of course.
Severance. She smiles at you.
And I'm allowed to have the right to mine, yes?
That's what I meant.
Right. Okay, good. Thank you. Just as long as we're all thinking about me.
Are you still cracking as many jokes as you used to?
Not
Even
nearly as enough as I
more.
want. But a sufficient amount, I think.
Well,
Right? Is there a sufficient amount?
Beyond.
Good.
well
I
then,
didn't realize I was.
we are sitting out the storm. Will you be staying long with us then?
Well, depending on the hospitality, we will see.
Don't
As
pay
of right
attention to
now,
Medea. Medea is just surprised is all.
I feel like if I don't pay attention to Medea, if I ever make it back here, I will then regret it.
That may be fair. That may be fair. And she gestures to the necklace. She says, "We lost our brother a few months ago.
Yes.
She thought that if you'd been here that you would have saved him. But I keep telling her that that is not fair, and she needs to be more open to the universe."
Tiresias, I'm so sorry to hear. What happened?
Well, it was a caravan, and one of the voles came and ripped his suit. He was able to fight it off, at least, but radiation poisoning will get you if the voles don't.
My condolences.
Thank you. And he puts his hand out, and he sort of like squeezes your hand with this very, very. I'm describing this to people who are not the Harlock or Severance because you've never seen this before, y'all. With this super warm gesture that, as if they have this, as if there's like, as if he knows a different Harlock than you all know, a Harlock that I don't know, was hanging out in an underground bunker where no one could find them with a lot more space and was perhaps just a bit warmer, right? There's no sense of like this, like, that Tiresias, he's not responding to the Harlock as if the Harlock is cold. And neither is Tiresias responding to Severance as if Severance is. He's responding to Severance as if Severance is a brother. And somewhat fun, serious. There's a lot of history, let's say. Your doctor has done quite a bit for us. He's had anti-rad sickness medication that's amazing. Saved quite a few of us, actually.
Yes, he's very clever. And the Harlock would turn and look at Val.
It's true.
And Tiresias smiles at you warmly, as if, again, as if you were like just now part of the family, right? In this very kind way. So,
I was just going to say, Val would take that moment that if he is not needed, kind of scanning around to be respectful, he would quit and go to.
are you leaving us?
Was going to help anybody else that needed help. I knew that there were still some people left in line.
He stands up and he walks over to you. And he takes your cheeks in his hands. He says, "You cannot go yet. I have a gift for you. Come and sit."
It's not needed, but
I think it might be.
as you
Come and
wish.
sit. And he puts you on one particular seat and sits next to you and sort of lays out a purple cloth on this table. And fishes in and says, I know that you are the one from a seam. The one who's the planet that kept us from starving. Medea spoke very highly of you. So, as a gift, I will tell you a future. Do you have your own coin of fate with you? He says. If not, I have one.
I'm afraid I do not.
There's no worries at all. I have my own. I think it is time. You, Doctor, from a seam, the planet that saved us all from the famine. We shall see what your future brings. As the sun shines on us all, so we shall see if the sun or the shadow shines on you. Let us begin. We are back, everyone. We are back. Hello and welcome. I am happy to have you here. Welcome back, everyone. When last we left our Tagonists, we were in like basically the main hearth of the capital, called Capital, which is the capital city of the Vespexers. By the way, it was not the capital of Drinax. That's what the Vespexers called this place, because it is now where they like their main place. And our Tagonists, our Tagonists have arrived here in order to basically wait out one of these storms that is bad, and they're just waiting out. And in the meantime, they are catching up with old times, with friends. And Tiresias, who is the divine for the Vespexers, has offered to give Val a divination in honor of Val's help of the people. And that is where we left off, I believe. And so the table is set. Everyone's sitting around. Medea comes in at this moment as Tiresias, as he is undoing, right, this deck and this coin. And Medea comes in with, how do I describe this very appealing food? Sort of like, canteen cups, these kind of metal cups. It's like a little metal bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And the bowl has got in it a nutrient paste that is sort of in there, and you can tell the media tried to do something. So there's probably some spice in there, like salt, which they would have had access to.
There is a food map.
There's a food map, right?
It has to be. Yeah, right.
Right, and so it's like a tray, and Medea sort of has this tray full of these bowls and puts the bowls out for everyone, including Severence. And it's this paste that's gray nutrient paste. It doesn't look like a lot of nutrient paste, but it's there. There are no vegetables at all in this situation.
Vegetables and Drinax.
Got some vegetables with hydroponics, right? And there's like a very small cube of meat. Which, by the way, is a big deal, and Severance, you would know that that's like...
It's delicious.
And it's probably vol, but...
Oh, it definitely is vol.
It's
definitely
vol.
I mean, because because if it is vol, it's bug meat, which is definitely higher in protein than normal regular flesh.
Absolutely, right? And that's what you eat, right? It's bug meat, right? So it's like you've got this little cube of vol.
So you're telling me the macros in this meal are great?
Yes, they are.
Fabulous.
The macros in this meal are great. And it's all sort of like...
But the mouthfeel is not so great.
The mouthfeel is maybe not so great. But it's sort of like brought to you, and Medea...
Harry Cube.
Places each one of these things in front of you and has her own. And she sits... Okay, well, you know how sometimes we talk about battle maps? Right? We're going to do a battle map right now about who's sitting where at the table. Just to know.
Okay,
I just
want to know tokens?
Where everybody's sitting at this table.
I am here.
Who's sitting next to who?
I'm on the left.
Shoot, how do we drag and drop our
You
people
drag
things
them
on
from...
You grab your you would click to open your character sheet and you just drag
Yeah,
it to the...
you just drag that.
Oh,
tab.
I was
Yep.
I was clicking the wrong thing.
It's a drag and drop.
I just want to know.
Dungeons and Drag and Drop.
I think the Harlock would be seated next to...
Perfect.
Is it a round table or a square table?
It's a
That's
round
important
table.
Distinction. Okay.
I'm on the left.
Like, is that how you want it? Like,
Oh, like, yeah, are we...
Oh, like
I'm going to need space. Put yourself in the upper right corner.
Okay.
Because I need space for the reading.
Like that?
So, Tiresias... who was by the way, Tiresias was an ancient Greek seer who changed gender throughout their lives.
Oh, sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Medea.
Erase. Now I'm gonna look that up. Not because I don't believe you. I just want to know more.
Mm-hmm.
Tiramisu.
So I need the dock because Tiresias is right by the dock
Okay.
Okay.
to read.
You tell me
Terrica's-
exactly where you need me to be,
yeah.
and I'll be there.
There you go.
Terrica's
Let's-
on some side of Val, whatever free side of Val there is. That's where Terrica's at.
All right. Well, then let's put because look. It's really important to know who's where at a dinner party.
It's fair.
You know.
I
and
don't think Terrica has sat down though. I think they're just standing until everybody, like once everyone sits and it's obvious that it's awkward that they're standing, then
Yeah.
they'll sit. But
Yes, and Prax. I'm also using masculine pronouns for Tiresias, who also plucked out his own eyeballs at one point in time. But our Tiresias has not done that yet. At this point. At this point. So I suppose we're gonna get Terrica. Like
Where's the
what?
Harlock sitting? Yeah.
Right here at the moment, but
I'll sit next to the Harlock.
Mm-hmm. And then that'll put Medea next to Tiresias, in order to best eyeball
There we go.
Severance.
Perfection.
Just how we are. And
Tiresias or Medea?
Medea is right across from some Severance, just be a little bit bitter. You know what I mean? Just a little.
Yep,
like
just
why'd you
bitter at
leave?
me.
Why'd you leave her home?
Everything's about you, Medea, right?
Maybe it is about me. Anyway, feelings. Let me pull up our divination deck.
Sometimes you gotta be a part of the main cast, Medea.
So Tiresias calms, and there's like a quiet. You can just hear the hum of the air filtration system, right, and the buzz of the lights. And Tiresias, he puts this coin at the top of the table, the coin of fate, and says, "This coin represents the sun and the shadow. This is you, the doctor. We must know in this moment if you are in sun or if you are in shadow. Please take this coin and flip it onto the table." And Greg, if you right-click that coin, you should be able to see multi-system random side. Ah, it seems that your crisis point is in shadow.
Perfect.
You don't say.
Didn't see that coming.
And he looks at you. Well, we shall see what the cards say. I will now place the crisis card. We know this will be a shadow card. And this is your crisis. We shall now place your sun, and we shall place your shadow. To finish, we must place 3 pairs of cards: your past, your present, and your future. This is your past sun. This is your past shadow. Your present sun. Your present shadow. And your future sun. And your future shadow. The cards are laid. What shall be, shall be. And he closes his eyes and he concentrates, reaching out to the sun, passing his hands over the cards. We shall begin with the past, the sun, which represents knowledge, the self, what is seen. Gray, interesting, and there is a plain gray card. Terrica, you have seen these divination decks before in the hands of the Sun Priestess. The decks you're used to are much fancier and have really great illustrations that are really impressive. This is just a plain card, a plain color. And the cards themselves are sort of worn and older, but a lot less fancy than the cards you're used to. Just for the record. And so, gray in sun is the stranger. Your past, what is the self, what is known, is the stranger. This could mean that you came from a distance. It could also mean that you were disconnected from your community, that you were perhaps alone, or felt yourself a stranger in some way. You are isolated, is what this says, from your past. We shall see what the shadow of your past says. And he flips the card, and it is red. This shadow is not yourself, but others. What you give or what you take from them. It seems that in your past there was some surrender. Surrender, he says, can be read many different ways. Surrender might be that you were defeated, or that you gave yourself willingly to someone else. But it could be violence that might have happened in your past. We shall now go to your present. And he flips over another card, and what you get, oh, that's interesting, he says. Looking at this card, brown, it looks like to me. Brown. Brown is, well, the solar eclipse or the full moon. It is the card of life, death, and rebirth. It is ascension or descension. The solar eclipse, which is your sun, is what is given when one dies and passes into the circle. Or if one has some sort of loss, it is a transition, this moment. Transition of loss you seem to find yourself in. That is what is apparent. For your shadow present, it is black. Black is the hearth, the shelter. This means that in this present moment, someone will offer you shelter, or you shall shelter someone else. But black as shadow means that despite this loss that you are feeling, there is some shelter for you. Sort of a metaphorical death, perhaps, although... And he looks over at Medea. I was told that you asked reports to go out saying that you had died, that perhaps you might shelter with us. Perhaps this is what this means. Although, one cannot say. Your future son, Blue. This is you, and it is abundance. It seems perhaps that your future will involve, well, wealth, love, something in abundance. I'm seeing that perhaps this death of one of your selves might lead to a new self, one with more. But what is your future shadow? Lavender. Huh. And he sort of like touches the lavender on his robes. When lavender is the sun, it is the dreamer. But when it is the shadow, it is the realist. Something pragmatic and practical. Interesting. Your future, it seems, may be attached to some change that comes after your death that involves you now accepting some form of abundance, but with it, pragmatism, realism, whatever that might mean. Well, we have 3 cards left. The first is your sun. The next is your shadow for you. And the top is your crisis. Your sun, your color, is orange. Your sun, again, is who you are. It is yourself. It is your knowledge. This is the knowledge of you, and it is orange. Orange is the wall. And he smiles and he kind of like tings the suit. That is defense. Your core self is that you are a defender. Oh. And that seems to have been true today. Your shadow. Your shadow is intuition. It is the others in your life. It is what you give and what you receive. It is white. It is destruction. It seems there is some great destruction that you have either given or received, or that might be in the hands of those you interact with. But all of this leads, of course, to your crisis. The top of your pyramid. The most central thing to concern yourself with at this moment. And this will be shadow. Yellow. Betrayal. Your crisis is betrayal. Either you will betray others, or others will betray you, or someone you love shall be betrayed. Your crisis is not necessarily with yourself, but with your relations to others, is your intuition. And so, with that, your reading is ended. Doctor.
He would touch his head. With your permission, I shall take to the present and heal as many as I can.
Indeed. If you need any time to talk about your reading, then I will be here. If your shelter is this place, you may have it as long as you wish. Hopefully you will not betray us, though. But please, our doctors will be in the infirmary waiting for you. Please, but do take your paste.
He will take some.
Eat up, though.
My headcanon for this whole scene is us just quietly like sucking on like the little apple like sauce pouches that kids have, like us just drinking our paste. While
Yeah.
this tarot
Because
reading's going on.
that's what you got. It's like it's a lot of paste.
It's a lot of paste.
It's a lot of paste, and I need to do a real quick. If you don't mind, I actually just have to do a screenshot
mind.
of this reading so that I
Oh.
can keep it for
Was
later.
this
no
totally
reason.
what Trooper? Was this absolutely random? These
Mhm.
cards?
It's Trooper, of course it is.
Oh my god, I love that so much.
We'll never know.
I mean,
We'll never know.
Twitch might, but we can't.
Eat up, Val. Don't embarrass me. Meanwhile, Quinn's sucking down
Quint's just like, cool. I'm fine with paste. I've had much worse.
Val's
Let's
just
go.
smearing paste on the outside of his mask of
Just-
the suit.
Oh,
Trooper,
oh,
they
they
lost your
lost
voice as
Trooper's
well.
voice.
We thought that you were talking directly to Twitch.
Yeah, no one can hear you. You went to take a screenshot and then all went bad.
Whoop.
To be fair, though, I can take a screenshot for you if you just want to fix your audio. And I'll just send you these
No,
after.
that was not to that. Sorry. Oh no.
Boom, saving it. Oh, look. Screenshot taken.
What?
Just fix yourself, Trooper. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba.
Something about so Terrica would go with Val. They'll stand up to go with Val. They'll offer to. They'll just be like, "Do you need help?" But it's not really like Val knows them enough at this point that
This as soon as we get out of here, I'm going to start asking you questions and laying into you, and because he would give a look back that they would know well enough to know that he is maybe not in the mood for that. Now, whether or not that discourages them, that's completely up to you. But
I think the look then that they would give him in response, where he's the look of where his look of like, I'm not really in the mood. Oh shoot, I have to ask Trooper if I have psi points left to be able to say something in his mind. But the look that they would give back is like fine, but like not fine as in like everything's fine, but fine as in everything is absolutely not fine. Like there is no part of anything that is fine right now. That's the look. But it's also like, wait, want to walk away? All right, fine.
Ooh,
Walk away from this fight.
I'm back, by
is
the
there
way.
side points on your character sheet?
I'm just
So here's the
contentedly eating
thing.
paste.
So Terrica ran through all of their side points, but they did that at the beginning of the walk
Yep.
to the Viper. So I think they've got some side points back, but I don't know how many or if it's enough to make a roll.
You have to
how about
rest.
we can allow Trooper to continue doing
I'm good. I'm
his
good.
stuff to get back.
No, we
And
can't hear you, buddy.
We can't hear you.
Oh, well, they can. Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
Twitch
the-
can. We can't. You lost us. You lost both.
Well, hold
we're just
on. I can
carrying on
fix-
without you until you fix it.
What? No, I
That's
can't
right.
fix that.
Did we
We're
just
good.
win
Screenshot
Traveler?
for you.
Yes.
We're giving
Yes.
ourselves-
everybody.
That's right. Thank
Well,
you,
Oh,
everybody.
chat,
It's been-
thank
I
you
wanna-
so much for being there as we
What?
won
I want to thank
Traveler.
YouTube
Well, hold on.
specifically.
we can hear you.
None of that.
And we can
None
hear
of that.
Okay, I'm back.
All right.
Oh.
I heard
We
all
were
of
so
y'all.
close.
Trooper,
Lindy, you got a
y'all went to
screenshot of that
shit
for
when you-
me?
I did. So I will take all the screenshots for you that you need.
Thank you so much. I would just like a screenshot and just put it the name of each person's reading. If we get more than
I just
one,
went Traveler Val reading, and it'll go down the
Perfect.
list. So
Thank you.
I'll send them to you after the game.
You are a brilliant dream. So I want everyone to have their readings.
You're a brilliant dream.
Is that a Sting album?
Yes. Yes.
You are a Sting album, Lindy.
Right.
I mean, there's worse things to
Ayo.
be.
By
Right?
the way, the paste does not taste like anything. It's a little like meh.
Even
Well,
better.
Well, it has
Nothing is
salt
better
in
than
it.
bad.
It has some salt.
It has salt in it. So
the
it tastes
vol's
like
actually quite
salt.
good. The vol's actually a little bit spicy. It's quite good.
If no one finishes their paste, I'll take theirs.
It's either
if they-
spicy
they
or
don't
it's
want
the
any paste to go
bristles.
to waste, you know.
This is delectable. What is this? It's Voltaint. Ah, thank you
Oh,
so much.
Mm.
Val doesn't like
Delicious.
his cube and his paste.
You know what they
I
call
will
it? The
take Val's
exoskeleton fun bridge.
Perfect.
Okay, so you wanted to use psi points that I'm assuming link up with Val's mind. If you don't have any, Val will do so.
Okay.
So if that
Okay.
helps anything.
Roll that
Perfect.
psionics, Val.
Oh, okay. My bluff was
Fixing my
called. I
kid.
got to do it now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Telepathy. No bonuses, I don't think.
Nope.
I don't
When
know
you're
Wow.
what.
Sometime tonight we are going to roll not a critical, and I'm worried about
It's
it.
gonna be Terrica. Let's
I'm
be
really
real.
worried about it.
No, it'll be like one of our like disciplines. It'll be like piloting for Terrica or like
Yeah, we
medical
just
for
die.
me.
Yeah.
This is important because Val has connected to Terrica. Val, you have entered into Terrica's psionic space. What does Terrica's psionic space look like at this moment? Because I imagine it might look different than it used to.
Oh. Hang on. What space is Terrica in right now? I think that it looks like it's a very nondescript room, just white walls. There's a chair, there's a table. There's not anything on the table right now. But it's like one of those like steel medical tables. And there's the chair, and then there's just a door, and there's a great big mirror on one wall.
Okay, so I'm gonna. What's the floor made out of?
It's
In
like a
your room.
white sort of tiley floor.
Then, if I may, and of course, Trooper,
Wow, me.
jump in. When Val would enter the mind space, almost like a bleed with him, you would see as he walks forward, the tile becomes hardwood floor, and the surgical table becomes like a wooded boarded kitchen table, like a plank table. And the closer he gets, more revealed like a bowl of fruit and fresh flowers, and it kind of fluctuates. And when his reflection hits the mirror, the frame of the mirror changes to something maybe simpler, and his image fluctuates in there as well. It fluctuates between June and Ruby.
I love it.
Why did you lie?
About
I lived everything that Drinax did, and you told me you could eat death. So why did you lie
I
about
have
it?
no idea what you're talking about.
Are you serious right now?
I don't know what you saw, Terrica. I don't know what manipulations this Drinaxian magic did to you. I thought you were fucking possessed. You turned on me screaming about eating death. What are you even talking about? That was
Because
completely serious.
Okay, yeah, so Terrica can. This is
Roll it.
to Terrica. It looks like Val's okay.
Roll it.
Oh shit!
Intelligence.
This is going to be the one that fails.
Deception.
Oh, all right.
Val, would you like to roll to resist?
No, Val's telling the truth.
Val is telling the truth.
Terrica will wave their hand, and the mirror will turn into the visual of everything that they saw. Like from the very beginning of everything that they saw with Drinax all the way through the end. And I'm happy to roll psionics, whatever psionics
Nope,
I have
because those are
to
memories.
do this.
That's fine. It's just that I just have to interrupt you.
But I want
Right.
to do the emotional part of it too.
Yeah, no, but right before you do,
Okay.
because you turn to the mirror, right?
Yeah.
And you see that flickering between Ruby and June,
Mhm.
right? Just like this flickering between Ruby and June, and you're about to go and show this, and as it flickers, right, that little flicker, Ruby, June, Ruby, June, Ruby, June, Lady Hill, and then you switch it over. Go ahead, continue on.
Wait, Lady Hill in
sorry,
Val?
what? No,
Lady Hill is in Val?
No, in the mirror, just a little bit of.
Terrica looks like Lady Hill?
Just a little flash, but continue on with sharing the images that you and emotions. Go ahead.
I think
Just-
when
just a
they
little second.
go to
Half a second.
when they go to share when they see Lady Hill, the frame changes immediately back to the mirror from the White Room. Like in a snap, and then the images, and then all of the emotions that came along with what Terrica experienced. And they'll just like turn to watch Val.
And to remind you, Val, what you see is sort of like the life of this being. But the important parts involve seeing this ancient warlord, Severence. Although in some ways he doesn't actually look like Severence in this memory, as if Drinax knows the difference between them. Harder edges, right, to the features. Slightly unnatural, like inhuman harder edges, like right angles on the nose, that kind of a thing. Just murdering huge numbers of people, and then shoving all of their blood into like a small tree or a child. It's unclear, but Drinax, right? Just shoving all this blood into it and then ripping it back out, right? It's this like murder, torture, and then it's just all of this pain. And this, of course, is before and after the destruction of the planet, right? That this has been going on for a very, very long time. That this being has had access to some piece of this being and has been torturing it for power. And then there's this vision of, again, this being, and it's important to note that this being that you're seeing, this torture, all this is not the home planet, but it's not the home planet. Like, you really see that when pieces of this being are given out of it or taken, that it remains connected to the home, right? That every little piece of Viridian that comes from Drinax knows where it is and what's happening to it, sees through its eyes, feels what's happening to it. And this ancient warlord has pieces of it and is doing these terrible things to it. And that is when the Harlock shows up and saves one of these seeds, or tries to, but can't by herself. And that's when you show up as a doctor, and you help do the surgery to release and save this small, injured, wounded seed. And then you eat it. And then you see yourself. Although when you look, it looks like Ruby a little bit. It's like kind of Ruby is overlaid on you. When you went to save it, there was like kind of like an overlay of June on you a little bit. But when afterwards you see yourself kind of like a Ruby overlay, murdering these pilots, and then you just rip blood out of them, and then you shove the blood into your own hand, and you can hear Drinax screaming, and then you rip it out, and then you use it like it's like you're throwing fireballs of blood. And then you murder that one woman in the hold with the grebes, and you see every single time that Val has drunk death and then used that power to enrich himself. But every time you do, it's almost as if it's like some kind of hybrid of Ruby and yourself. And you don't remember doing any of these things at all. But you also see that the seed, you got to see the seed fly through space, right? You got to see like the life cycle of one of these beings. It's like starts off like a meteor, flies through space, hits a planet. If the planet has enough life, it can enter into a symbiotic relationship. And as the life thinks about the thing, it grows. It can then give more life to the planet and back and forth, and it move out. So you see that whole cycle, but it starts with a seed. And you see when Drinax gets big enough, it can send out basically a meteor that's big enough to be a seed, like a piece of Viridian that's big enough of itself, that's big enough to go to another planet and then grow into a new being. And you realize that you have swallowed one of the seeds, and it is now growing inside of you. Every single time you eat death, you force nutrients into it, which causes it to grow, and you can see it starting in your hand and then up your arm, and you can see in this moment that tendrils of it have gone into your chest, where your lungs are and where your heart is. And that it's every time you've eaten death, it becomes bigger and bigger. you can see yourself. There's like a vision of you that when it gets too big, you will be all Viridian. And you will just be a seed that should be planted somewhere to grow. But you will not be yourself. Or you'll sort of be yourself. It's a little... But it's hard to say that you would die. You would probably just become a planet, right? If you were able to grow. But if you can't, well, there's a lot of pain. A lot of pain. And as it grew inside of you, this seed, because you fed it death, you tortured it. Slowly and slowly, Drinax started losing it. And there's a moment as Drinax recedes, as this seed grows in your body, you start feeling another being that rises. And once Drinax is gone, you can't feel it. Then this memory is gone because Drinax is no longer has access. But it's this other being, and you can kind of see Ruby turning into Rudolph Valentino a little bit, right? And you have this sense this is another Viridian being, and you know it's Terra. You know it's Terra because you are a son of Terra, and you are transforming this seed into you somehow. And you have a planet inside you, but you have tortured it.
But it's not Drinax.
No, not anymore.
Then that's what he says when he turns to Terrica. Why are you mad?
Quick question. Can Terrica see the overlay of June versus Ruby that's happening on the mirror right now?
In the mirror,
or is that only...
yes.
Okay.
But I will note, all the torture you did was when it was still Drinax. You basically stopped eating death about the time, right? Like you sort of like, you stopped eating death a while ago, and that was like about when that sort of transformation was happening.
But again, just so we verify that Val isn't attempting to gaslight or anything.
That is correct.
He knows nothing about what is going on here.
That is correct.
He is watching something that he
He's like,
doesn't
"What is this?"
understand.
That is correct. That is correct.
But
So
he
what did you
understands
say?
this, that whatever's left is him, his, a joint, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's what he focuses on, as he doesn't understand much of it. He just turns back to Terrica. There's a lot of unexplainable shit going on right now. Why are you mad at me? You attacked me in the caverns, Terrica, and if that was you and not some possession, then I believe I deserve an answer.
Val, you tortured Drinax. Sure, maybe it's not Drinax anymore. But that's not who I... And they're gonna like look back at the mirror where they saw that image of like Ruby Val.
And also Lady Hill.
Flickering. And also Lady Hill.
Did Val see Lady Hill?
Oh yeah.
Were you looking at the mirror?
If Val looks at the mirror right now, does he see a flash? Like if he, I'm assuming that he's been looking at the mirror because that's where we've been kind of projecting.
In which case, you would have caught that little flash right before it went into the new. Like it's not there right now, but it was like a half-second flash right before. You know when Terrica went to go and take control of the mirror and it stopped reflecting Val? Just a half a second, Lady Hill was there looking.
Well, he takes that card and puts it up his sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
That's not great. Terrica will they'll like have that moment of looking at the mirror, and then they'll look back at Val very quietly, and they'll say, "You really don't remember any of that."
I don't know how you do this in space, but he literally like opens his mind, like he drops all defenses.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything. I'm sure this is like someone screaming in the Harlock's ear, even though she's not in the space. He drops
Close
like
enough.
every
Close
single defense that he has, and he says, Do you think I remember?
I'm gonna need
I'm
a
not
roll.
sure this is real.
This is definitely real.
The magic
I-
space seed stuff is real,
Yes, it is, Val. It is.
and I'm in trouble for it.
Well, until literally just now, I thought that you did it knowingly.
I think that's the question, Terrica, that we need to address right now, is that over the course of this grand adventure we've been on, when something goes wrong, it's Val's fault. And Val doesn't get asked about it. I get condemned for it. You didn't ask me in the cavern if I remembered anything. You spun on me. I thought you were under someone else's control.
I'm sorry for slapping you.
I mean, Terrica, it's whatever at this point because I don't know how to explain a friendship that is based on sand. I would never turn on you. Never. I would have your back. I always have. But if that was you in that cavern that turned on me, you need to answer your own questions. Why? I haven't changed. I am still the same person that you knew. Somehow that doesn't seem like it's enough in this moment of mania where we find ourselves with magic fucking space rocks dictating our future and cards on a table to tell me that I'm going to be betrayed. I don't believe any of that shit. Well, I didn't.
I'm not going to betray you, Val.
You already have.
That is never. Are you kidding? With a slap after what I experienced, you think that. I came looking for you. I always will. I always have.
You came looking for me after you drove me off. There is a difference. When you pull somebody back from the ledge, that's something. If you're the one that put them over the edge, that makes the whole situation very different.
I wish I had more answers for you, Val. I think the only answer I've really got is that I just don't trust people. Anyone.
You don't have to trust anyone. You only have to trust me. There's the other place, the other world, everyone else, and then there's us.
Val, you said you would never hide anything from me that was about me, and you the entire time hid the entire Ruby plot, and I get it. I do. But also, trust. You're right now flickering between Ruby and your mom. So which side of you am I trusting? Because I didn't even know this other side of you existed. I thought you were I thought you were the most amazing person in the world. The kindest, most down-to-earth person who would never hurt a fly. And I was wrong.
If you saw me as perfect, then yes, you were. But the thing you have to ask yourself, Terrica, is this. When you look at somebody that you claim to love, that is your friend, and you see two different parts of them, you can't pick the one you like the most. Because that makes you the liar. To be very clear, no matter what some cards in a cave say, I will never betray you. All the shit that Ruby was planning, I was hoping we could run from it, because I know he can't be beaten in the traditional sense, and I don't trust myself to fight that war. Running was my only option. Silence was my only defense. If you ever think for a moment that if you fall, I won't pick you up, you don't know me, either side of me.
All right. I'll love both sides of you. You need to know both sides of me.
No, I don't.
You say that now.
I've never loved anything, Terrica. Nothing.
Fair.
Not since my mom. But know this. I don't care what you are. I don't care what sides there are to you. There's nothing you could tell me that would make me not love you. Nothing. And I guess that's where we're different. He breaks the mirror.
Before you break
Behind it.
you see just like a flicker of Ruby, of June, of Lady Hill, of you, Terrica. A bit of a kaleidoscope right before you break it.
He walks up to the mirror, and when he sees all of that flickering, he says both to Terrica and the images, you can't have us. None of you. And he smashes the mirror.
Behind it is another room, a dark room. There's just a big plush chair in that room that can clearly like see through the window, and there's a little table beside the chair with an earpiece on it.
Like a two-way mirror.
Terrica will just simply say, if you're in this with me, then I'm in this with you, Val. I do love you.
He would cross to them. And there's fear because he still doesn't have his defenses up. He's left them completely down.
I'm going to need right now a psionics-based roll from Terrica, because it has been said that Val left his mind completely open. And so I'm going to need a roll.
What kind of role?
Well, I think you can go with deception would work, but psionic based to see whether or not, and a boon, because he left his mind open, because he said that you can look at whatever you want. And deception is used to both do it and also detect it.
Okay. Wow.
It's a 14.
Critical success.
Critical success. Well, Val is not resisting. I'm going to start, and perhaps Greg will continue, and then I might come back in again. But it's a mind. All of the memories are there. It's like cornfields, rows of fields, wheat. All these memories that you can see. So many memories from all of his life. They're all there. All of them. And many of them are not very nice. But you also see something else in this mind of his. You see Val as a small boy running through these fields, running through the memories. But what you notice is that there are these erased parts, just a blank of nothingness. Swaths of this field there, gone, missing. Sense that they're still there, that there are memories there in this void, but he can't see them. They've been can't see them. And when you look at this vast field that is his life, some of the wheat is bright, some of it is rotten. But you can see all these stretches of land that have been locked away. He doesn't even know it. You can see the little Val running and not even seeing that there are these things missing. There's quite a bit missing. Doesn't know. Greg, you may add what you wish.
Throughout the field and the wheat, some of it turned, some of it golden, and the prime before harvesting. These blank spaces that Val doesn't see or doesn't attempt to navigate through. Sometimes maybe he even runs through them, but he doesn't know he's there. He doesn't know where his feet fall in this moment. But as there are images and ghosts that seem to go with the wind and blows the top of the plants and acts as the almost a apparition, these people from his life. You can see his mom, you can see Ruby, you can see people maybe that you do not know, and Severence is there, and the Harlock, even Quint is there, and a couple of them, and all of these people that you have met in your travels, but they are ghosts. They are transparent. They hold no substance. They are the wind. You see yourself as well, and you are solid, and you are majestic even among this space. And the little boy will turn in your direction as one would turn to put their face to the sun. And whether or not this little boy sees Terrica, he takes strength from them, even at that age, before they had even met. It is the way that destiny works.
Terrica. There's something scratching at the back of your mind. It's a needle, a long, thin needle. And feeling of pressing that needle into someone's eye. and they're screaming. It's not yours. And you just hear your mother say, "That's level 2. Level 3. Val's turning his face to your son. And your shadow. Pick up a scalpel.
I think in this moment, Terrica's mental wall breaks and that particular piece, like that memory comes through.
What's the memory?
It's the memory of their hand. Somebody sitting in that exact chair that is just, well, now it's a different chair. Where is it? It kind of fluctuates now, I think, between the steel metal chair and the wooden one that was there a minute ago. But there's somebody sitting there, and with it, this pressing urgency that this person knows something important, something important about Val and about Jem. Something urgent. And it's Terrica's hand with that needle over the top of this person.
Terrica's younger. Probably college age. This person is screaming.
And Val can see this?
Yeah.
He ignores it. He doesn't even look. And he would continue to advance on Terrica, both in the real world and in this mind space.
And the man says, I don't know. I don't know the code to the bomb. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Terrica's eyes, I think, will snap from the man over to Val. And they look somewhere between horrified and terrified.
There's blood on Terrica's hands. A lot of blood. And Lady Hill is not there in this room. It's just Terrica. And this man.
He completely ignores it. He's not even... It no matter how loud it gets, no matter what screams, no matter what acts of barbarism, not that I'm saying that there's any, but anything, there's nothing that could draw his gaze. There's nothing. There's cries from his mother. Nothing could take away his focus. He doesn't even hear it. He is simply walking towards Terrica.
I think they've just like got eyes locked on him, and they're not saying anything. They're just frozen.
Well, then, as he would move in both the mind space, and then again, he would, as he's walking in the physical space, he walks out of the suit. The suit breaks away from him as he continues his stride, and the suit would close up behind him in the physical world. And he would move directly in front of Terrica in both spaces and would look at them. I don't care about the past. I don't care about the future. Those cards mean nothing to me. These images mean nothing to me. That mirror meant nothing to me. This moment the rest of the universe can burn. All I see is you.
I think with that, the chair disappears and the man with him. And the room shifts and it becomes a study, like a very cozy study. There's a granite game in one corner. There's like a couch. It's just a very cozy study. It's very warm and cozy. And then it shifts again and it becomes the rooftop. Their rooftop where they escaped from the Star Guard at one point, like the place that they went and hung out a lot.
Then as he would walk forward, both, again, everything's in both the physical world and their mind space, he would offer them his hand. And this is first position for a dance.
They would extend their hand quietly and draw their right foot back to set the counter position for it.
And Val would do what is usually done. And again, I'm desperately trying to remember some of these things. He would do what the dance the Drinaxians used to do when they were coming to the peace table during a war. And that's where both lead in the dance. There is no lead. There is no trail. And he would set his feet in the correct manner as they would start to twirl, if Terrica will allow.
Oh, they would absolutely do the peace brokering dance.
And as they would spin, led by one and the other, when the time hit, and that time is not Val's to decide alone, but when the moment would take them, and as the dance and the spin would become a moment, he would draw them close.
And right at that moment, Tech will hear in their mind,
oh no.
Remember, if anyone knows who you love, they will destroy that person and destroy you. Love is a weakness. It must be burned out your body.
So I think all the way leading up into this part of the dance, Terrica used to be a really good dancer. They were a bit unorthodox, very unorthodox when they were younger, before Lady Hill's tutelage. And so like that is a little bit of what is starting to come into the dance. Yes, it's all the right steps, but also there's like a flourish here and there's a shift there, and they're getting, the weight is starting to fall from their shoulders, and they actually, I think, start to smile before that needling thought creeps in like a little dagger.
And that thought, by the way, unlike the many times you've heard Lady Hill say that in the past, when Lady Hill said it in the past, it was cruel, it was punishing, it was judgmental. Now when you hear it, it is fear. It is fear, it is pain, it is sorrow, and it is paranoia.
So it's all of the emotions Terrica felt every time that they've run away.
Mm-hmm.
Can Val feel any of this?
Well, you are in each other's mind space, so I would leave that to Terrica to say.
I think that they're after their defenses went down with the torture scene, yes, short answer.
Then if Val hears that noise, that fear, that Now, again, he doesn't hear I'm sure the words, but just
It's
the
the feeling.
emotion, just the feelings come through. Then what he would do is, as he would stop the twirl, but continue almost like the body motion of the twirl without the positioning of the feet. And as he would finish the spin, he would move into them. And for the first time, he would place his forehead on theirs. And in that space, in that proximity, in that moment of shared experience, I am yours if you have me. And there's desperation at the edge of his voice, and there is fear radiating off of him because this is the first time he's ever spoken out loud what he really wants.
When Terrica turns their face up, they've just got like tears going down their cheeks. And I think there's like a sweep of their hand like away before it comes back to either side of his face as well. And they'll just simply say, I have always wanted to be yours.
And these words that he has wanted to hear seemingly his whole life, from when he was a boy running in the field staring at a sun that wasn't really the sun, to when he was in college running from a father that desperately wanted the person that he loved to serve as a pawn. He feels those hands in the physical world and in the mind space. And with everything that he is, was, or ever will be, he kisses Terrica. And this is not a kiss that lives in the past of experiences shared. This is not a kiss that is the hope for the future. This is a kiss that exists in the razor's edge of now, where all kisses should exist, but very few do.
Terrica returns that kiss. They wrap both arms around his neck and like trying to get as close to him as they possibly can. And as they do, there's like a wall that drops in the back of their mind against that little needle.
Then, if you will, I would say that obviously nothing changes in the real world, but in their mind space, they are nowhere that they experienced alone. No kitchens or studies or cozy offices. They are standing on the exterior of the Gambler, rocketing through space. There's no wind because it's a space, but it's theirs. And they don't have to share it with anybody.
Terrica just has this like unbridled joy. Not like what you've seen them have with the Gambler, but far more intense. That joy and that relaxation that they have as soon as they start to pilot and everything falls off of them, that is what is here, but it's magnified like tenfold.
And Val just rides that. He rides that euphoria. He rides that success and that prowess. And he doesn't add to anything to it. He allows himself for the first time in his life to not have a shield, to not have a wall. Because when you blow out a candle on a birthday cake, you make a wish. You seldom get to see it when it comes true.
And let us shift our globe back to the conference room, where Teresius is there with Severence and the Harlock and Quint and Medea, shuffling the cards. And he turns to the group and says, well, as our doctor and the liege from the floating palace have gone to the infirmary, does anyone else? Does anyone else wish a reading?
I would be interested.
Ah,
Good. I was hoping for one. I was like, it'd be really cool if I saw Quinn have one. All right, great.
please, come and sit. And your
Sit.
name is
Quint.
Quint. That is your name.
That's what I go by, at least. That's what they told me. Kind of an orphanish situation.
See? Well, many Vespexers are orphans. We do know this. Do you have your own fate coin? You don't sound Drinaxian, so I imagine you don't.
I do not. No, I'm Solomani.
Ah. Well, here. And he hands you this coin of fate. Would you please flip the coin so we know your core crisis? Your crisis is in shadow. Let us begin then. First, we must place the card for your crisis, then your sun, and then your moon, your shadow. Then we must place the sun and shadow of your past, the sun and shadow of your present, and then, finally, the sun and shadow of your future. The sun is knowledge, and the shadow is intuition. The sun is what you wear, it is who you are, how you present, and the intuition is those around you, those you give to or take from. And so we begin. Quint, your sun past is yellow. It is loss. Your past is one of loss. Loss of those who have loved. Loss of many things. But this is a loss that is gold. It is mourning, but it is... Perhaps you had quite a lot of distance with many others, perhaps. Your shadow past is black. Interesting. That is the card of shelter, given or gained. It is not home. Black is only home and hearth in the sun position. In shadow, it is what you sought, were given, or gave. Perhaps you have lost a home from your past. Perhaps it was something you gave up. But there is some sort of... You are not the home, but it was lost to you. Your present sun. Oh, it is green. Green in the sun is love. There is some love within you. You are beloved. Your shadow, the intuition of the present. Ah, it is pink. Oh. Pink in the shadow is to wither. It is when plants die. Your love is not stable, shall we say. It is this thing you love so dearly, because green is a love that is powerful. It is withering, it is slipping away from you. It is collapsing in some way. But this, as shadow, means that it is not you who are giving it up, but it is withering from you. Your future son is white. That is catastrophe. That is death. It may be metaphorical death, but unlike yellow, here in Drinax we have both gold and white for mourning. But gold, as I wear this gold for my brother, but he has died some time ago, and so the loss is less acute. But white is a loss that is catastrophic. You must hold this. There may be mourning in your future of something close. But your intuitive side, the shadow, your eclipse in the future, is poverty and lack. This says someone, something very close to you. You will lose it, and you will feel out of this a loss. It may not be death, but you will give up something very powerful and important to you. And this loss will make you weaker. It will impoverish you in some way. Your path laid out before you. We must now see your son. Your son is your core self, or at least how you present yourself to others. Your son is the wall. Like a good doctor, you are a protector. You have the ability to defend yourself and others. You have done much to defend and save others, and that is quite core to yourself. This defense may be physical or emotional. Might be any number of ways that you've defended others, but that you have done. Your shadow, which is your relationship to others, giving and taking, receiving, those around you. And it is brown. Interesting. This, of course, is about transitions, death, life. In the sun, it is one thing. The moon, it is others. The sun is death, going back the earth, or being demoted, depending on how this works. But brown in the shadow is rebirth. It is birth. It is ascension. Something in you shall be born. You, Quint, shall be born anew. This is your eclipse. Be reborn. And your crisis, the thing that is most in needing of your attention in this moment. It is lavender. That, in shadow, is the realist. It's not the dreamer. But this is your crisis. Facts, logic. I always beware those who overly concern themselves with facts and logic, with the lavender. My lavender that I'm wearing is for the dreamer because I see beyond sight. Some shall be. Perhaps you might be too swayed by logic, rely solely on logic and not on dreams. You should beware of following only your mind and doing only what is logical and sound, because realism is your crisis for this moment. You may overcome realism. You may be able to avoid this great loss and withering, or at least Perhaps the way through that is through dreams.
Hmm.
So, Quint, I hope this helps you.
Thank you. It's very interesting.
I wish to know your great love, but I will not ask. I'm sorry.
It's complicated anyways. So
And so the sun may yet shine on you.
I'm sorry. Is this card, and it holds up the white one, that means death?
Well, in the sun, it is catastrophe, yes. But in white, it is destruction. If you wear white, it means you are in mourning. If, however, throw white in someone's face, then you declare that you shall destroy them in some way. So, there's a difference between if you wear it or if you throw it at someone.
Right, but I'm talking about a card being flipped in front of them in the order that you've flipped them.
Oh, yes, here it is loss and destruction. It is catastrophe, really.
Right. Okay, well, that's news.
Yes.
If you believe in this stuff, that is, of course.
Well, it comes from the son of Drinax itself.
you should get your reading done next, Severance.
Oh.
Why? Okay, well, sure.
You just get to be like, hold on, no, talk me through this reading again, and then not be nominated for next.
Mm-hmm.
I
don't do it.
I must say, it will be a pleasure to give you a reading, Severance. It has been quite some time since I did. I think the last time was right before you embarked on your journey to university.
I remember, and none of it came true. So
well, and Medea goes, well, we wouldn't know because you haven't.
Yeah, yes, and that one, Troop.
and Medea says, well, we wouldn't know if it came true or not because you haven't written. Says Medea,
right, well,
full of...
Okay, Medea, all right. Okay.
Medea, you never write, you never call.
You never write, you never call.
Well, it's in transit. I mean, it'll show up. It's got lost in the...
He turns to Medea, hush.
Thank you.
Do you have your own coin of fate?
No. Can I use this one?
Yes, of course.
All right, I will give this one. Is it done? Can I flip it?
Right-click and then click multi-sided random.
Hey.
Yes. Your crisis lies in the sun and not in the shadow.
Which definitely sounds a bit beneficial.
Well, it's always a crisis. Your crisis is here. Your sun is here. Your shadow.
I flip the crisis right now.
You can. You can do so as he is laying
Great,
out.
I just want to flip it over, look at it, and put it back.
Severance, you've always been such a...
Interesting, okay.
As a small person, even, you always played by your own rules. This is why both Medea and I like you very much.
Good.
And Medea is just like...
I don't know what I just saw, by the way. It was, we'll see. Let's see what you interpret, but I think it's something else.
Let us see. Your past, your son. It is purple. Interesting. Purple, of course, is the card of knowledge, is the transparent. Your past involves great learning. Well, you did go up to the Scholar's Tower. And he smiles at you, and there's like a kind of an ease with this reading, like we've known each other for so long, right? But your shadow for your past is destruction. You may have...
Which would mean rebirth here, right?
Oh, no, not in white. That is brown.
Oh, okay.
But white...
White and shadow was rebirth, okay.
The white and shadow is challenging someone, killing someone, destroying someone.
I mean, either way, it's.
I mean-
even if it was rebirth or death, it's the same
it
scenario.
is. Mhm. Seems as if you must have had someone, you have destroyed someone, challenged someone in the past.
Not me. No way.
Well,
Uh,
you're not really a fighter. Perhaps this
I don't know.
destruction is perhaps you destroyed
well, just
someone.
because you're not a fighter doesn't mean you're not a killer.
Well, destruction doesn't have to be killing. Perhaps you destroyed someone through trade. I know you wanted to be a trader, perhaps.
Yes, it was
Destroyed
through
a
trade.
rival.
That was it.
But in the past, you had great knowledge coming to you. Let us see your present. Yes, let's see. Your present is love. Interesting. But how do we understand this love? From the sun, we must see your shadow. Oh, betrayal. A love betrayed. Either this love
And
betrayed
obviously,
you.
they're talking about Drinax. It's the green is obviously green in love and green, and it's my love
Yes.
for Drinax and the betrayal of how it's been blasted by the Aslan, the Federation, the Hierate. We know that. It's the betrayal. It's the deep sense of love and betrayal that I'm feeling.
Oh, well, I would have. That is an interpretation, of course. My sense was that there was some great love, which indeed could be Drinax, but there is some past betrayal within it. You betrayed, or yes, well, I suppose it could be Drinax. Well,
Yes.
let us
That's
look to your future. Oh, it is brown. Death and rebirth, or demotion. It is transcendence in a different way.
It's not demotion, right? It's either death or rebirth. It's not death, rebirth, or demotion.
Well,
I mean,
you
that's
see, people when
now
they
you're
are
adding things.
well, when people, it is a transition. Both of these are transitions, one up and one down. One can see a transition down as death, or sometimes it means sort of a loss of status, of your place in society. That's what it is in the sun. You may need to watch out, or you may lose something important in terms of your social status, or, well, death can be metaphorical, but your shadow side is lavender again. Too many people, it seems, in your group are overburdened by facts. Realism, not enough dreaming. That will be your crisis.
No, I know what the crisis is already, right? That's not going to be it.
Well, this is the problem. This is the shadow side. I would say this means either that relying on facts given to you will lead to this destruction, this, well, not really destruction, this transcendence, as it were, the solar eclipse. Either relying on facts or not heeding them will cause this solar eclipse, so be aware of faulty facts, misplaced realism.
All right.
Let us look to your son, who you are, Severance. Let's see what they give us.
So this is past, present, future. The bottom row here is past,
Yes.
present, future.
Yes.
Both sun, and then moon, moon, right?
Well, shadow.
Sorry, moon, shadow.
Yes.
Right,
And
and in this row.
Yes.
Here.
Self and other.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Self and other relations. Yourself, Severance, and your son is abundance. This is
I would have told you that.
wealth, success, abundance of all things. It is a very strong card. It's the card of growing. It is the card of nurturing. It's a very good card. Your self, Severance.
Sort of look over at Medea.
Medea's just like, a little like, of course he gets abundance. Sort of like, of course he does. Like there's a little bit of like, yeah. Well, let us see about your others, your shadow. Ah, wither. Others around you may wither. So you must watch out for those relationships. It says to me that perhaps some sort of relationship that was important to you has withered in some way, has faded from you. You have everything now, but your relationships with others or an other fades. It is not being cultivated. The pink of this card is often associated with plants. Either they thrive or they wither. You have to watch out for your relationships withering. But let us see your crisis.
Yes, the crisis, yes. Let's move on to the crisis.
Your crisis. Severance. And every time he says severance, he says it with like this kind of like I remember when we were hanging out when we were 12, that kind of like there's like a real sort of familiarity. Ah, orange.
I know. It's that, isn't it?
It's the wall when in sun, but it is the open gate, vulnerability when in shadow. So it seems your crisis is not vulnerability, but an excess of defense. Too much protection is your crisis. So, or perhaps not enough. But not enough is a bit more of the shadow, eclipse. We know your future involves death or demotion. With your intuition about it, about facts and realism, but your crisis is defense. Do you have enough of it? Watch out for this.
Well, a good offense is a great defense. That's what I've always said, right? It's there's no reason to. I mean, this is great. Thank you so much. I just start taking the cards and putting them back on the deck. Yeah, this has been wonderful. Yes, I just
Severance.
Yes.
I wish you screenshot. I wish that you might.
No, you got to
I got this
screenshot
one.
it
I
in
forgot
this
mine.
pile.
I got this one though.
All right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, you forgot yours.
I was taking notes and stuff, and then
We'll
we
find
cleared
it.
it. and I was like,
It's all right. Willen got
it'll
it.
be in the VOD.
We'll
I'm
get
not
the
worried
VOD.
about it.
Willen's already
I
got
got
it,
this
right,
one
Willen?
though. I got this one. I got this one like a minute ago. I was like, it's done. Wow.
Willen's like, oh fuck.
Having a panic attack because
No. I think you should be very careful of your defense. These are dangerous times, and you should be mindful of them. And he puts his hand on yours. Severance, you're not allowed to get killed. Please.
Okay, I won't. Fine, I won't get killed.
And
just because you asked me to.
Yeah. And Medea goes, huh. You get killed, I will haunt you.
I think the Harlock would speak up. I assure you.
If I get killed, I will haunt you. Actually, I've got far better things to do than do that. But I will. You could pretend I'm haunting you.
I assure you, he's well defended, and that's to both of them.
Thank you, Harlock.
And
Harlock, are you going to get your reading read?
Yes.
I would be honored.
I mean, it's probably going to be very, pretty boring for you, Harlock. You probably already know it.
She shoots him a look.
He's going to flip the cards, and you're going to go, yeah, it's great, it's purple. Great, it's pink. I already know.
I think, as far as the coin goes, she, just because of who she is and because of the psionic connection here, I think she probably would produce one that she has. From the last visit.
Yeah.
Not really sure where it came from, but she kind of just produces it in her hand, then flips it.
Ah. And Teresa smiles. I see you've kept your coin of fate. Seems your crisis is in shadow.
Of course.
Interesting. The shadow, you know, is the intuitive, the space of mysteries.
That is where we both work best, is it not?
It is. I have always been pleased by your company. It always seems to me rejuvenating in some way. Well, let us begin then, in which case.
And right as they start, I think the Harlock would do this. Can I roll a telepathy?
Absolutely.
I think the Harlock would, as concealed as possible to him, try to teleport to have this reading done in private. Or not teleport, but telepathize.
And Teresia...
So 14.
That is enough to send thoughts, because Teresius cannot send thoughts back. Because Teresius is not consciously psionic in that way, which means you need the 10 to send the thoughts. But Teresius is not shocked by hearing your thoughts in his head. Sort of nods and sort of thinks about this and says, well, I will say some out loud, and I shall think the others.
And
First,
Harlock just slightly nods.
Your crisis, your sun, your shadow, your past, its sun and shadow, your present, its sun and shadow, and your future, its sun and its shadow. By the way, Severence, Mal was quite young when you left, and is still idolizing you and hero worshipping you. But he has become a good asset to the Vespexers. Quite brave. Stubbornly not taking on his knighthood, though, until you yourself knight him. Should know that.
Good, then that's the demotion. I'm glad we figured that out.
The Harlock. Gray is your son of the past. And Teresis closes his eyes and thinks in his head, hoping that you will read it, that the Gray is the stranger, the one who is not part of the society, not from here, that is separate, is alone. But also, Gray is not just the stranger, but also the one who chooses not to participate, the one who takes themselves away, perhaps leaving something on your own or refusing what is expected of you. But the shadow, and out loud, Teresia says, shadow past, yellow, betrayal. In his mind, he says, your past is a betrayal. You have been betrayed, or you have betrayed someone in your past, connected in some way to being removed, or removing yourself from your community, being a stranger. Perhaps this betrayal is what caused you to be cast out, or perhaps this betrayal was you leaving. That is your past. Your present. Oh, the present. And just out loud, he says, the present is black. And in his mind, he says, black is one of the most fortuitous colors out of all of the divination. In sun, it is home, it's hearth. That means you, in the present, are the home for others. You hold some sort of home, a hearth for others. You must take great comfort. A hearth is also comfort. There is some hearth you hold for others that gives them comfort, and that is a fine thing. Your shadow. Well, interesting. Your shadow is red. Red shadow is surrender. Surrender, of course, red sun is victory. Red shadow is surrender, but surrender might not mean involuntary. You may give yourself freely to someone, to something, to a cause, or perhaps you lose. You are defeated. But this is connected to this hearth of yours. Have you surrendered to this home? Or will you give it up for something else? Well, that would be in the future, perhaps. Possible future, depending on your crisis. And then out loud, he says, your sun future is pink. In his mind, he says, this, of course, we understand this is thriving or withering. In the sun, it is thriving. But it's important to note that pink, thriving, which is associated with plants, is also associated with husbandry, with caregiving, with being a parent or a mentor. Your future, it seems, involves caring for someone, something, letting it grow, parenting, mentoring, giving care to something so that it may thrive.
As soon as he says that, the Harlock would become a little more serious and lean in, almost as if she is prepared to jump out of the seat or prepared for some sort of an action move in the mind space.
Yeah. But what is your shadow of the future? Orange as shadow. We've seen quite a few orange cards in the sun, which makes that person a defender. But in shadow, an eclipse, it is the open gate. It is vulnerability. This is a weakness, a vulnerability. This may be seen as either, because this is your relationship to others, the shadow, either this thing that you husband, that you nurture, will be in danger, or there will be some vulnerability around this being or idea. I'm afraid, Orange, the open gate is loss. This is perhaps a lost thing, or something that you find in the future will be vulnerable. But something that you will nurture in the future will be vulnerable, or you'll be vulnerable to it. But the open gate, you should watch out for this. Your son, he says. Your son? Well, the Harlock. It's lavender. And isn't that perfect? The lavender is the dreamer, the creative, the singer, the dancer, the one who can read into the mysteries. You can read into the mysteries. I have not heard you sing, although I imagine perhaps I might. It says that you are able to see into the mysteries and through creativity. Oh. And he sort of just smiles because he really quite liked you when he met you a year before. This is the perfect card for you. I should give you something of lavender. Well, your relationship with others. Purple. Purple. In sun, purple is transparent. It is knowledge. It is expertise. But in shadow, it is secrets. It is what is hidden. You hold many secrets. You hold them from others, and you hold them about others. Your relationship with others is, well, it is in secret, isn't it? Well, shall we see what your crisis is? Your crisis, the Harlock, is white. And it is
And
shadow.
is this being spoken, or is this in
All
the
the
mind
interpretation
space?
is in the mind, the words
Okay.
themselves, the color is out loud. Out loud, your crisis is white. And in the mind space, white is destruction. White in sun is death, but white in shadow is destruction. Your crisis is your destroying others, your challenge of others. Perhaps you must go destroy that which might threaten. The thing that you shall grow and let thrive that has this vulnerability about it. Yes, I think this thing that you will nurture is vulnerable with the Oathwind Gate. Your crisis that you must go through is destruction. I do not envy you this.
And in the mind space, the Harlock kind of sits back up and almost adopts more of the what would have been seen last time on visiting, that kind of persona, and would reach across and take his hands and
In space.
in the mind
Yeah.
space and say, "This was a wonderful reading as always. Thank you so much."
I feel as if you might need to give up your home in the present in order to defend this that you nurture in the future.
Yes, well, it's something that's been on my mind. But this was a good bit of inspiration,
May the sun shine on you.
as on you.
The Harlock.
And then, oh yeah, go ahead.
And Teresius looks at you in the mind space. And again, Teresius is not themselves exactly psionic. They are, but they it's not something they can actively access. It's just like part of their being that they've never been trained, you know. And so it's always a little bit fuzzy in the mind space. And Teresius crosses over to you and reaches out and just gives you this hug. Very warm, a hug that says, a hug to give you strength for whatever might come in the future.
And the Harlock would very warmly return it. And in the reality space, the Harlock is kind of just unmoving, unsaying anything, just sitting there, arms crossed.
Well, these are our cards, it seems. Thank you for allowing the sun to shine through me to you all. To be a divine involves channeling the spirit of the sun. And also, I must say, Quint was your name, yes?
Yes.
And you are a colleague of Baron Severence.
Yes, I am a fellow crew member on this ship.
Then I must tell you something of our good Baron. Something quite important and serious.
I am listening.
You must know that when he was quite young, he once made a fart quite smelly in front of everyone while he was going through his initiation, and we all laughed. This is me giving you an embarrassing story about my little brother.
I imagine Severance has gotten up from the bath to go to the bathroom at this point or something, which is why he's not here. Gwen goes, I will keep that in mind. Thank you. And internally, is like, I am never going to use that because I just do not want to get shoved out the airlock. But that's the internal.
And you have my permission to tease him.
That gets a visual reaction of like, well, I don't know about that. From Quint.
Come, let us eat. And the
The
food,
paste
right?
is quite good.
Right, and there's also like filtered water that comes in that tastes a little bit metallic, but
Better than puddle water. Again,
Better than
we're
puddle
looking
water.
at up and ups here. Like, Quentin, this is fine.
and I
When the
believe
bar
there'll
is
be
down
like
here.
some like food waiting
meat's
for
good.
the storm to pass. And with that, I'm seeing nice. Anything you all wish to do in this moment, my dear friends? As Teresius, he gathers up the cards, and he smiles, and he just sort of like puts a shoulder, like a hand on the Harlock's shoulder, and squeezes, and sort of nods and smiles to Quint, and then stops and looks at Quint and goes, sort of like leans in a little bit closer to them, says, "You have an interesting smell about you. Trees, I think. Not smelled that one before. Fascinating."
That's news to me as well.
Hmm.
And I think, since we're wrapping up the session tonight here, Quint will talk with Teresius about maybe more about the divination stuff. Nothing we need to RP out. Just like just to like have
Come
it
walk
said that it
with
was
me.
chatted at. Yeah.
And I think Teresius will like put out his arm for Quint,
Mhm.
as sort of walk out of this place, which
Which
is
arm?
like
The one that would take the robot arm or the not robot arm?
absolutely robot arm. Because here's the
Okay.
thing: Teresius is happy one way or the other, right? It doesn't
I just
even
wasn't
really
sure which arm was being offered. I needed to know if it was right hand link or left hand link.
left hand. It's your robot arm link,
Okay, right arm link then. Okay.
and walks you through and says, "I will show you all the places. Perhaps you might want to see the Poison Gate." And we'll walk with you, and it's like this place is kind of miserable, but the people
and we can't
here.
leave until the storm is over. So
Nope.
might as
But-
well do something.
But the people are there's a real closeness between them. Everybody here. It is a hard life. It is a hard life. But there is something rejuvenating about them.
If there was less camaraderie, it would remind Quint more of her childhood.
Yes.
But there's
Yes.
too much camaraderie.
Yes.
Enough misery.
enough
too
misery.
much camaraderie.
And I would say, and Teresa says, Teresa says, I imagine that the noble from the palace wouldn't want their divination from me. I imagine that they would get their divination from the sun priestess up above. Well,
I don't think that's it. I think they're just trying to dodge any divination period.
well, I know how they are up there. They don't always think so much of us, at least some of them.
I wouldn't say Terrica is among those.
Well, let's hope not.
I think Terrica just doesn't want to hear anything about themselves from anyone right now.
Well, let me show you our gardens. And he's like, all right, and takes you off to like a kind of like a, it's like all steel, like little, like it's like it's actually there's no food, but it's sort of steel,
Yeah.
leaving the Harlock and Medea and Severance in the main room, and Medea stands up and says, "Well, I'd better go before you leave again. Harlock, it's been a pleasure to see you. I'm sorry, my mother will be sad to have missed you."
The pleasure's been mine, and the Harlock stands to offer goodbye.
And Medea gives you a hug and just whispers, "It broke my mother's heart." stayed away so long.
Nara like slightly nods.
And Medea sort of just nods and heads out, leaving you two in the room. As in different moments, the crew wait out the storm. And I am going to assume you do not all have too much on board, and I will say that the storm will pass. It's been raging for a bit. And the time will come for you to board the Camlin Viper and head back to the floating palace. With the Viridian in your hold, with your divinations given. With Mal hoping that he can get knighted by, like, Severence the hero. And
You might be hoping for a while.
might be hoping for a while. But that is where we will end our session for today. Let us have our outros. I would love for each one of you to say who you are, where we can find you, and then give some love to the rest of the crew. But I would like to make an announcement. I asked the Harlock. No, that's not right. I asked Rockette Fox if I might be able to commission Rockette to make the artwork for the Drinaxian divination cards, but the fancy version that's up in the floating palace. Because down here they have the non-fancy version, and also
Not going to be straight solid colors.
it's we've got those colors going on, and she said yes. So please, I'm very excited, and I would imagine what we've got is something really exciting for Terrica's divination later. And with that, we're gonna go.
We're dodging that.
Yeah,
we
you
don't
can
need
only
to have
dodge it.
conversations with Severence or divination. We're good. We're good.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So I'm excited for the cards that Rockette Fox will make, because Rockette's art is amazing, and you should check out their store. But let's do our outros, everybody. Let's go first off. Let's go with Greg. Who are you? Where can we find you? And then also, some divination. No, love.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody. My name is Greg. I play Dr. Valentine Val Morrissey. You can find me over on YouTube as Warp Reactor, doing some reaction videos, currently doing Arcane Season 2, and all the time Star Trek and fun things like that. If my divination is this, I would love to see Mike Tyson knock out the Paul Kid, but that's it. That's all. It's something that's happening tonight. The baddest man on the planet. Let's see, whatever. Tonight, a ton of love for absolutely everybody. My incredible scene partner, Ari, for everything that we've gotten into. Watching everybody go through their divinations was great. I absolutely... for Rockette, whenever I said, when we were doing our scene, Terrica and Val were doing their scene, and I said, all the defenses were down. I'm probably sure that the Harlock can hear this. You flashed up for a second this look of irritation, and I almost lost it. So it was absolutely fantastic. This just flash of irritation, and absolutely perfect moment. And again, Ari and I were talking in our chat in the back room, and we were talking about the characters and things like that. And I thought to myself, as I went around the horn with everybody here, I settled on Lindy, and I thought, Lindy and I have had characters that have been in love. We've had characters that have been married, and we currently have characters that fucking despise each other. And I thought,
which is a callback to our first podcast where we hated each
absolutely. And that, everybody, is what friendship is defined by me. And that is the purest form of friendship, when we can do all of these fun fucking things and open up every door and look behind every curtain. It is the absolute best. And I will say this about Cord: he had me absolutely rolling here during his dividend. He's like, no, guys, let me just look at the last card first. That was the fucking best. I'll be taking no questions at this time. And last but certainly not least, our incredible GM, who has come up with all of these fun things for us to do, all of these moments that have strung together in this beautiful tapestry that is Gamblers. And I couldn't love it anymore. And it is a pleasure, as always, to live in your world and be invited back. I hope I don't get kicked out anytime soon, because this is where I like to hang out with all my friends. And because I'm not allowed to play with toys anymore, thanks society, I get to play with all of my friends every Friday night, and it is the fucking best. Chat, as always, I love each and every one of you. I will see you all next week.
Yay! Next up. So I feel like we have to follow that up with the person who has been quite brave with their voice. Ari, who are you? Where can we find you? And then give some love. And then what is your divination for the future?
Oh, my divination for the future? Oh shoot. Okay, I should have thought about this. I didn't think about this. Hi, I'm Ari_Ventures. You can find me live here in Seattle. Not this weekend, because my voice is doing this, and it's real hard to project on stage when your voice is like this. But hopefully next weekend. You can also, now I can start talking about this, find me live in Escape Clause. It is an immersive theater show thing that's happening here in Seattle. You will be helping basically fix the game that my character built. And if you do it, then I don't get fired. And if you don't, then I get fired. So, come help me fix my game, please. I have to launch it tonight. Anyway, that's the whole premise. I'm looking forward to it. Love for tonight. Holy cannoli, Trooper, that divination build is so amazing. I love it so much. And I just love the fact that like each of the sort of fortunes that came out of that fit the characters so beautifully. And that just speaks to your knowledge of the characters, your knowledge of the cards and the way that you built that, and like your whole structure. Like there's just, it's all of the different facets, and it's fucking gorgeous, man. So cool. So very cool. Whew, excuse me. And then Severance just like arguing about the divination was my favorite, when he was like, no, this was that before, so it can't be that now. Like, here's how, like trying to tell her how to do it. I know there was like talk of like the order earlier, but like his argument with about what color meant was just, I loved that. But also realistically, like if I'm gonna give different love, there's the moment with what's the name of his squire where he like realized that he had a squire, and
Malcolm.
and Malcolm, there we go, that's right.
Malcolm Brace.
And then he's like, oh right, I guess I should, I don't know, mate you now. Like it's just I love the way that Core plays Severance. I think it's fucking hilarious and so true to the character every single time, and it makes me so happy. And Greg, of like things I've already said to you, right? But like your ability to describe what is happening in the world, and particularly in that scene, was just fantastic, right? Very easy to get transported there and to know exactly what was happening between the two characters, even if Terrica was still trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. Because for the longest time, they thought that there was no way they would ever end up with Val. So just fantastic. There's a whole thing behind that, but they never thought they were going to end up with Val. And then Lindy, you're like having Quint lock up the ship. Like, dude, like, and then you're like, and I'm full on, like, I'm turning off all of the electronics, like, I'm doing all the things. Like, it was so very Quint, but it was also so very you, in this just beautiful moment of you being like, Trooper, just so we're super fucking clear here, I have turned off the electronics.
I said out loud that I fucked everything, covered all bases.
Played enough with Greg, with Trooper, with Don. It just happened with enough GMs to know what's up.
It was just seats. Beautiful, so beautiful. And then caring about the macros of the meal, like just
that is so Quint, so Quint,
so Quint, so Quint. And last but not least, oh my God, Fox. So you said there was a couple things. You had like all of that kindness in the size space, right? But the line that really stuck out to me tonight was, there was one point where there was this like, who's defending Severance sort of thing happening, and all you said was just, he is well defended. And it was just this like moment where you're like, yeah, if anyone fucking touches that man, the Harlock's gonna murder. Real bad murder, real fast.
Destruction up there, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. It was so gorgeous. I loved it so much. So that's my love. I think if I'm divinating into the future, I'm pretty sure that there are going to be these little peanut butter chocolate cups in my future. They're very good.
Next up, let me see. I want to go next up to we're popcorning it since obviously the one who will defend anyone, Rockette. Who are you? Where can we find you? And then give some love and your divination, because after all, your reading said some stuff about you, didn't it? Well, about the Harlock at least.
Yes. Hello, everyone. It is I, Rockette Fox, your second favorite person. You can find me wherever. Just, go ahead and Google Rockette Fox and I'll be there, likely, possibly. Or you can say my name 3 times and I'll be right behind you. As far as love goes for tonight, one thing I do have to say, this one is for Greg, the voice behind Val. When you lost it at Paste, I could not come back from that. The talk of basic Paste happened, and then I just saw you leave in a heavy gravity kind of way, and it was really hard to come back from that. Yeah, that, and also, listen, Trooper, I do have to say, I'm super excited about this deck. I cannot even begin to see how honored I am and how stoked I am. What you were doing during the readings, I wanted to grab all my decks and just start spreading them out. So I think that's amazing. But that being said, the Paste was really something special. That was a true gift, I think, for all of us. And that's going to live rent free in my noggin for a good long time. I do want to say the scene between Terrica and Val, obviously amazing. One thing that I would love to point out about it, though, was the beginning, where there's still this crisis point going on. There's still argument happening, things of that nature. And it was really interesting watching both of you just play off each other for that and kind of watch the argument evolve and go kind of play back and forth in a way that was very honest and on both sides made me feel very guilty. Just listening to it, I was like, oh, everything I'm hearing from everyone is making me feel bad. And that was amazing. So that's always a joy to see. I love, Lindy, I've got to say, just as a gamer, whenever it came up about taking screenshots instantaneously, just in the driest voice I've ever seen, you're just like, I'm taking the screenshots. And I love that every single time. Like, Lindy is just on top of it, and that's always amazing to see.
And I got everyone's but my own. Go figure.
That's the point.
That's
the
what I
gamer
love so
point right there.
much.
That is the unselfish gamer at the table. Did everything for everybody else and fucking forgot themselves. That's Lindy.
Or just purposefully didn't take screenshots so that we don't see.
I was like, oh shit, I need to take. Oh, the cards are already swapped over. Oh, there's a whole moment.
There's a VOD for that.
Cool.
There's a VOD for
There's
that. I'm gonna
that-
find it.
I'm sure.
There was panic, and then there's a VOD. So yeah, there was.
Yeah, and then also for Core, just the initial scene between him and the Harlock, just, you don't often see vulnerability from that guy, as we saw later on. That's not really something that he does all that often, and being able to kind of see that in that moment, in that space, was very cool, I think. And divination for the future. Well, clearly we all heal the planet. The plants and crops grow like Titan AE. It's amazing. We all link hands and start dancing in a circle, and everything is grand.
Is that? Oh, all right. Well,
that's what I divine for the future.
okay. All right. Well, speaking of divine, those who are divine. Lindy.
Hi. Does this have to do with what I made my sisters call me growing up?
Yes.
Yes.
Who are you? Where can we find
Hi.
you? Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Laugh Love Lady Joe? And also give some love and then your divination.
Hi, I'm Left Love Lindy, or as I made my younger sisters called me for many years, the Divine Empress. It's what large age gaps get you people. It's bad. Don't do it. Yeah, you can find me online, Left Love Lindy. My divination, you didn't say it's to be in game, so I foresee charity streams next month.
No.
Me and Trooper. Oh, you're gonna have to fill out the rest of it later. That's just it was a divination. That's all I got. And my love for tonight goes out to I'll start with Greg. Also, right when he walked up with Paste, Paste was mentioned, and Greg left. Greg was like,
Nope.
Broke him at Paste, and I just love it whenever we get to break Greg. I love breaking Greg. If I can make it happen, I do my utmost, and this time Paste did all the hard work, and I'm thankful for that. So thank you, Paste. Paste, you get a thumbs up for me. More love goes out to Ari for just being like, nah, I ain't gonna get divined. Nope, not. But then it coming off as like really like, oh, those nobles from Drinax just don't even get a divination from here. I tried to help. I should be like, I don't think that's the case with this specific person. Notice I didn't say with nobles. I just said this specific person. But
Thank you so much for that. Because you're right.
Yeah, trying too hard, but yeah, and because I know and Quint knows that you're gonna try to dodge just as hard up top, the divination. So, but I love that, just dodging, being like, oh no,
it's gonna be real hard.
Getting back into his walker and just getting like the hug, and then just get back into the swing of things. How excited he was to get back home! Excited about the food. How I think he and Quint were the two most excited people about the Paste. I'm not gonna lie. I think we were both like, bug meat, hell yeah, like, just and I loved that. I loved that so much. And of course, the Harlock for being like, no, don't say my divinations out loud. But I am going last, so we kind of have an idea of what some of these cards mean. So, but don't say it out loud. I loved that. I loved that so much. Just like keeping it close to the chest. I can respect that. Quint can respect that. And then Trooper for just making teasing Severence. I liked the two sibling-esque NPCs were just like, oh, if you ever call a ride home, you never call, you never write. He just we didn't even know if he was alive. I love that. I liked that a lot. That was very entertaining. And then that just leaves where you can find me. Laugh Love Lindy. Pretty much everywhere. Even if I'm not active, I stole the name because no one else to steal it. You can find me on my channel bi-weekly Mondays and Tuesdays. We just had it this past week, so it won't be next week. It'll be the week after for our D&D games. Critical Role's Call of the Netherdeep and Ghosts of Saltmarsh, where in Ghosts of Saltmarsh, IGM, and they're currently in the middle of a murder mystery. As in, people were murdered. And then,
is it a mystery, though?
Well, they don't know who did it. 2 people died, and then technically one got revived and one's in a coma. So no one has stayed dead, but 2 people did die. So yeah, I gotta kind of figure it out who did it, who done it. And yeah, they're baffled, and I love it. And then of course here on Fridays for Traveler, and maybe some divination, some charity event in about less than a month's time. Oh, for a streamiversary or something. Handing it to you, Trooper. Maybe you can finish. Maybe you can finish that divination wave at some point. Yeah.
There's going to be embarrassments for folks is also a thing that's gonna happen, and I'm gonna need all of your help for the embarrassment. That is true. So, before I say anything, I need to see if we had any messages. Also, dearest chat, I did a thing. Let me know if there's still a kind of an underlay crackle in my voice. I want to see if I fixed it. But let's see if we had any tips or bits so that I can read out whatever might be said, because I want to give love to y'all for being amazing. So let's see what we have first. We have a $20 tip from my mod and yours, Rissa, also my GM for Call of Cthulhu, saying, looking forward to shattering Wesley's illusions about Drinax. Yeah, it's not like in the serials. This is not
I'm
at
getting
all.
the full tour. I can show Wesley everything. He's gonna be so disappointed.
Yeah, because it's not like in the movies, is what I'm going to say. And then we
No.
got 27 bits from Stormbender27. I see what you did there. Who says, some coin for the bard's cap, even though Greg hates bards. But that's because... Thank you, Max
I know I'm
Ryder.
playing in Greg's next D&D campaign.
We're going to do an all-bard campaign. We're going to make Greg GM it.
Yeah.
And then he will kill us immediately. So then...
I love
That's
this
not a
so much.
campaign, that's a one-shot.
Literally, he's got a sniper rifle.
Right there. Hawkeye, who's amazing, who I have things, gave us 500 bits, thank you so much, and says, the Tagonists are back. It's time for homecoming. Will Wesley lead the team to victory? Oh, so sorry. Where is it? I'm sorry. It's Hawkeye. The Tagonists are back. It's time for homecoming. Will Wesley lead the team to victory? Will Val and Terrica be homecoming king and regent? Will Quint make the winning float? Will Severence and the Harlock chaperone the homecoming dance? And will someone spike the Starbeam chocolate punch? Find out next week. Aha! Thank you so much for that, Hawkeye. Look, I just want the excuse for the megaphone. That's my life. And then Bex's and O's donated 1,000 bits. Thank you so very much. I'm going to send that directly into whoever I traumatized the most. I'm not quite certain who won the trauma lottery today. We'll find out. A few people. We got 100 bits from Other Doc, who is a really great player and also a great GM and very cool person, who says, my emotions. I swear this happens every time the PCs go to chat on the psychic plane. Well done. Hey, the psychic plane, it's hard to have defenses in the psychic plane. Just laid bare all your feelings and torture. Not me. You know. And then Willen, our note taker, our sponsor, 100 bits says, so many feels tonight and memories. Thanks for all the intense scenes and the fun. Thank you. We have a special tier on our Patreon, and it's the sponsor tier. It's $200, which will pay for 4 players for 1 week and 1 show. And we only have 4 slots, and you get a special shout out, and that special shout out has to go to Willen, who has been our sponsor for ages and a day, making it so much easier for me to help put this out and make sure everybody, is treated fairly and justly compensated for their time. So thank you, Willen, and you're going to get the special shout out in their credits, which leaves only me. I believe next is me. And I'm going to say this. There was a question, and if I can get it going, I'm going to make sure that what I want is to see if I can get a divination, the coin, the sun shadow coin, and also the deck after we get Rocket to illustrate it. And I'm going to make sure I can get it. I think I can probably get it sold through Drive-Thru-RPG. Anyway, I will find a way so that if y'all want this amazing Drinaxian divination deck, that you will be able to get a copy of it. And so that said, we have a merch store. Go hang out in the merch store. There are other things. But where can you find me next? I will tell you. I'm troopersjp. Woohoo! You can find me, today is Friday. You can find me on Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. over at Wandering DM's channel for a short shot, which is in Warhammer 40k Imperium Maledictum. We are tax collectors, and we're in the office. And my character is very, very sincere and just really upbeat and loves everybody and will kill heretics, if the Emperor says so, because we love the God Emperor. The God Emperor is awesome. And if the God Emperor doesn't like heretics, and I guess I don't like heretics either, we'll just get rid of them. It's cool.
Boo heresy.
Boo heresy. Taxes, yay. Paperwork, best. Not just triplicate, quadruplicate. And then you can find me on Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern over on Table Story for Season 2 of Tidal Blades. We did Tidal Blades like 2 years ago, and we're back for another like 6 or 7 shot where I play Soft Boy Fish Boy who has time travel problems. But everybody cried in the first episode, so you should come hang out with us. And then I will be back here on Friday. These are my RPGs for episode 9 of The Gamblers. They're heading back up to the palace. Poor Malcolm will not be knighted, I guess, but there are things waiting for them on the floating palace. Quite
Okay, that's never good.
a few things are waiting for them. It's fine. I wouldn't worry about it. And that's where you can find us. Thank you so much for being here. And I adore each and every one of you. Thank you to the cast. Let me give you the love. 1. Greg and Ari, what was that? What was that sort of intensity? Also, I'm still not convinced this is not a healthy relationship, but it's cool. Cool. I feel like there's no codependency there whatsoever. It'll be fine. But I was happy for some of the various reveals that happened within that conversation, including the large gaps in Val's memory, unfortunately, and also the little Lady Hill hanging out in a mirror. And also the torture that somebody, maybe named Terrica, might have been involved in, but it's cool. And then, but that was just so intense, so wonderful. Also, I have to say, I loved everybody's reaction to their readings. So great. I loved how everybody has a different relationship to those readings. Like Greg is like, nope, see ya. Like, I don't believe in the readings. This is all BS. And what is this tree space rock thing? Right. And, Terrica's like, nope, not even gonna do it. And the Harlock being like, let's not have this out loud, but I know what this is all about. Oh, like, the Harlock was like, Rocket, you were doing some stuff with your face. I'm going to tell you that. You were like, I could see you. Your reactions were so in character and so great. Loved it. It was like intense. Also, of course, right? Severance arguing about the interpretation. Love it. And Quint was like, I'm going to have a conversation with Tiresias about this divination thing maybe a little bit later, especially after the whole tree thing. Let's have that conversation. There's just these little bits that I was like, So my love to them. And also my love to the audience. And our title for tonight is All I See Is You. And yeah, that's it, everybody. Take care of yourselves. And we will catch you all on the flip side. Bye.